Chapter 1249. Without a doubt, Lin Rei didn't stop after his successful attack. Now that he could die at any moment, he didn't have time to think about anything else. His only reaction was to kill as many as he could. It would be best if he could kill all those monsters until all their attention was on him. This way, Lu Shusheng and the others could leave this dangerous sea area relatively safely. Little dragon, I might need your help later. While waving the long spear in his hand, he communicated with the little dragon through the divine telekinesis system. At this moment, only the little dragon could bring everyone out of here safely and better delay this group of monsters so that the others could leave as soon as possible. Bastard, you're giving me trouble again. After complaining, he continued, don't worry, just leave the body to me later. However, this kind of ordinary situation may have a negative impact on your body and the fusion rate. What I mean is, you should try your best to fight. Just treat this as an experience. Experience the edge of life and death that you haven't experienced for a long time. Maybe you can break through because of this battle. When I really can't hold on, I'll come out and accept it. What do you think? Lin Rei was filled with anticipation. When the little dragon spoke, Lin Rei was moved. Indeed, he had been looking for opponents before. Now that there was such a good whetstone before the new year, it would be a waste if he didn't use it. Moreover, since the little dragon promised, there wouldn't be any problems. He had 100% trust in the little dragon. After being together for 4,000 to 5,000 years, if he didn't have this bit of trust, how could he have come to where he was today? Okay, I'll call you when I really can't hold on anymore. As for now. The spear pierced through the head of a monster that didn't look like a monster. Red and white instantly gushed out from the skull, and the smell of blood filled the sea area. It's time for me to show off. With the body of the long spear, the battle intent rose. At this moment, Lin Rei didn't hide anything. This was the opportunity to prove himself. Daoist Tian Quan, who was standing behind Lin Rei, felt his blood boil for some reason. He had the urge to charge forward and fight alongside Lin Rei. At the side, Ouyang Shui, who was following behind him, seemed to have sensed her husband's strange behavior. She grabbed his arm with both of her hands. Her heart tightened, and a worried expression appeared on her face. Although she did not want him to go, but, go ahead. As she spoke, she loosened her hands. Remember, you have to be safe. I don't want you to be when I wake up. If that's the case, I'd rather not wake up. Remember this old lady's words. You must be well. As she spoke, she drew her long sword. She looked like she was ready to fight and was ready to die. Shusheng Lu, who was watching from the side, was stunned. He didn't react in time, but he knew what the other party was thinking. You, fellow Daoist, at this time, we will have a greater chance of success if we attack together. Although fellow Daoist Lin Rei's method is feasible, but, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and catch up with me. Do you really want me to protect you all the way until you leave? Sensing that Shusheng Lu and the others were still standing behind him, he was furious. He did not care about Daoist Tian Quan and the others' reputation and directly roared. Ugh! Lin Rei's voice was very loud. Everyone regained their senses and looked towards the source of the voice. They saw Lin Rei was like the god of death from the ninth heaven. His whole body was wrapped in illusory spirit blood fire. Outside of the illusory spirit blood fire, there was a layer of Hongmeng fire. He held a spear in one hand, looking mighty, domineering, and full of aura. Everyone was stunned and subconsciously started to move. Too stupid. He cursed in his heart and immediately continued to hunt. Undeniably, the demonic beasts in the sea were very powerful. Ordinary hierarch realm demonic beasts were much stronger than the demonic beasts on land. Perhaps it was because the battlefield was facing the sea beasts, Lin Rei could not fully display his strength. However, if one were to judge Lin Rei based on an ordinary cultivator, it would be a big mistake. If one were to judge Lin Rei based on an ordinary cultivator, there would only be one outcome, death. Die. Silent Thunder Spear Execution. Martial God Stratagem. Sky-shattering fist, sky-destroying palm. Myriad sword art, myriad transformations. For a moment, the dazzling battle was seen by Xu Xinglu and the others. At this moment, everyone started to judge Lin Rei's strength. If such a cultivator doesn't die today, he will definitely soar to the sky in the future. I'm afraid the whole holy world will tremble because of this person. Yes, I agree. This kind of person will not be able to live a peaceful life. Yeah. He's too powerful. I'm afraid he has the strength of an early Earth Saint Realm expert. Xu Xinglu and the others rushed towards a direction. They were shocked to see Lin Rei's crazy attack that did not care about the consumption of Saint's spiritual qi. Indeed. Lin Rei was on the verge of going crazy. He was doing this so that Xu Xinglu and the others could leave this place safely. For a moment, there was no sea blue color within 100 miles. There was only blood, scarlet, and the smell of blood. This was the battlefield of Azura, the playground of demons, the harvest of the Grim Reaper, the paradise of demonic cultivators. Roar. An earth-shattering roar of a beast came from the bottom of the sea. It was as if the beast was the only existence left in this world. Lin Rei and the others seemed insignificant. Not good. I'm afraid the smell of blood has attracted the overlord of the sea. Daoist Tian Quan's expression changed when he heard the beast's roar. His body trembled. The thing that he did not want to see the most had happened. F***ck, that's, forget it. Listen to Lin Rei and get out of here as soon as possible. Since he agreed to my arrangement, it means that he has a way to escape. Xu Xinglu was the calmest among them. What? Daoist Tian Quan and the others agreed. However, Ouyang disagreed. He still had Lin Rei's soul imprint in his mind. If Ruo Lin died, he would not be able to escape. Of course, another reason was that Lin Rei had promised him that he would break through to the Saint Realm in half a year. He thought it was a lie. However, after spending some time together, the Saint's spiritual qi in his body was denser than before. If he continued to follow Lin Rei's plan, there was an 80% chance that he would break through to the Saint Realm in half a year. Most importantly, Lin Rei's personality. Although he looked cold, he was very protective of his subordinates. Therefore, when he heard Xu Xinglu's words, he was unhappy. He looked at Xu Xinglu with a gloomy face and said coldly, "Bastard, don't think that I'm afraid of you just because your cultivation is high. If it wasn't for my young master, do you think you could escape from here? If it wasn't for you begging my young master shamelessly, do you think you could follow us? And you?" As he said that, he turned his head and pointed at Daoist Tian Quan as if he had gone mad. He no longer cared about Daoist Tian Quan's cultivation and status in the holy world. If it wasn't for my young master, your wife would still be in a coma. As for you, you would still be helping that alchemist and foolishly collecting 2 useless alchemy materials. More importantly, aside from the people of the heavenly court, probably only my young master can cook for your wife in the entire saint's world, Jianchen said. When Ouyang said that, Tian Quan and Lu Shuxing were stunned. Even Ouyang Shui, who had been silent all this time, was stunned. She did not show any dissatisfaction towards Ouyang. Ouyang was right. If it wasn't for Lin Rei, none of this would have happened. Sigh, a bunch of fools. What Ouyang didn't know was that his words had fallen into Lin Rei's ears. Lin Rei felt a warmth in his heart. However, in the next moment, he even had the urge to kill Ouyang. Originally, they were running fine. Now that Ouyang had said that, they might stay for the sake of their reputation. By then, even if he came up with a solution, it would be useless. He couldn't possibly point at the sky and say, "Die with your eggs facing the sky. If you don't die, you'll live for thousands of years." Bullshit. The spear in his hand continued to swing as he roared at Ouyang. "Ouyang, you bastard. You want to kill me, right? Hurry up and leave with Lu Shusheng and the others. Why are you, a quasi-saint, messing around with me? Don't you think the situation is dangerous enough?" "Awoo, awoo. The beasts roared continuously as more and more monsters gathered. To put it nicely, it was a beast horde. To put it bluntly, it was a beast horde. Moreover, it was the most powerful beast horde he had ever seen. He dared to guarantee that any of the monsters here would become an invincible overlord in the divine realm. Hurry up and leave. Not only can you not help Lin Rei, you'll become a burden in the end. Lu Shusheng said as he channeled Holy Spirit Qi into his legs. His speed soared to a new height. His figure disappeared from the spot as he rushed in the direction he had set earlier. Yes, little brother. Hurry up and leave. Otherwise, you'll only be a burden to Daoist Lin. It wasn't that he didn't want to help. He had a woman by his side. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, this woman had suffered because of him. He couldn't let her be in danger again. He couldn't do it. After saying that, he disappeared from the spot just like Lu Shusheng. Ouyang didn't leave. He stood there in a daze and sneered as he looked at the people in the distance. A bunch of scumbags. You're quick to run when there's danger. But do you know that life and reputation aren't the most important things in this world? He turned around and a long sword appeared in his hand. The sound of the sword soared into the sky and shook the surroundings. What? Looking at Ouyang, who was full of battle intent, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. What the hell is going on? Is there anyone who can tell me? Hee, not bad. Looks like the little brother you've recruited this time is very loyal to you. The system teased. F***ck, this idiot. Yes, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. He didn't expect Ouyang to be so loyal to him. Just like what the system said, this guy's loyalty was a little too excessive. Whoosh. Ouyang rushed over and nodded at Lin Rei. Young master, I'm willing to shed my last drop of blood with you. After saying that, he didn't wait for Lin Rei's reply. He found a hierarch realm demonic beast and rushed towards it. Lin Rei was speechless. Ouyang, who was in the mood for battle, probably didn't know that Lin Rei wanted to kill him. Idiot, just you wait. When we get out of this trap, I'll rub your face against the ground. Although he said that, he was still quite pleased. After all, it wasn't easy to have a loyal subordinate. System, inform me when Lu Shusheng and the others get out of this trap. I don't want this idiot to die here. Otherwise, how am I going to vent my anger? Alright, don't worry. After getting the system's answer, Lin Rei became even more unscrupulous. However, when he thought of the previous roar, Lin Rei prayed in his heart that this guy wouldn't appear after Lu Shusheng and the others got out of here. Human, does it feel good to kill my people? A majestic and inviolable voice suddenly exploded in Lin Rei's mind. F***ck, I can't. I can't be that unlucky. Yes, the host might be that unlucky. Official authentication. The system said. Get lost. At this moment, he didn't have the mood to tease the system anymore. Judging from the voice just now, he wasn't a match for it. Splash. Below the surface of the sea, a huge creature broke through the surface of the sea and rushed out. The moment it rushed out, the demonic beasts that had surrounded Lin Rei and Ouyang immediately retreated. It was as if an emperor had appeared and they were all opening a path for him. Earth Sage, a proper Earth Sage of origin. Host, you're in trouble this time. Lin Rei's face darkened. If it was a group of Dao fruit sages, he might be able to accept it. If it was a beginner Earth Sage, he might be able to accept it. However, he felt an unprecedented pressure from the huge creature. It was absolutely impossible for this fellow to be a simple Earth Sage of chaos. Lin Rei made a decision in his heart. That's right, a quasi-heaven sage. You're only one step away from becoming a heavenly sage. So, host, take it easy. If you can't do it, just summon the little dragon. When the system said that, Lin Rei was tempted. Indeed, he was a little touched when faced with such a price. However, the moment he was tempted, a voice in his heart said no. Yes, that voice in his heart didn't want the little dragon to appear. Shaking his head, he followed the voice in his heart. No, I want to try. Even if I can't defeat it, I still want it. After saying that, he looked at the huge creature. His battle intent was even stronger than before. He didn't have the slightest intention of cowering. Up to you. Come on. Let me see if you're as beautiful as you say. After saying that, the figure rushed out. The huge creature looked very festive. It had the head of a chelan and the body of a whale. This combination was amazing. Humans are ignorant. Looking at Lin Rei, who was rushing over, a trace of disdain flashed across the huge creature's eyes. With a flick of its tail, the surface of the sea instantly exploded. A water column shot up to the sky and blasted towards Lin Rei, who was rushing over. What? Looking at the water column, Lin Rei was shocked. This kind of method made him a little speechless. He didn't underestimate it. One should know that with the opponent's cultivation, it could crush him at any time. Empty blade. Putting away the Chaos Dragon spear, he stretched out his hand and chopped at the water column. Ha, ignorant. Seeing Lin Rei's action, the huge creature sneered. It didn't even look at him. What is this? This is absolute strength, it's absolute confidence. However, just when the huge creature was looking at him, a strange sound was heard. The water column that shot up to the sky split into two and rushed towards two directions. It just happened to ignore the place where Lin Rei was. Chapter 1250. You know the divine power of space? You. Who are you? The demonic beast was shocked. One should know that time was king and space was emperor. It was unimaginable for a human to know the divine power of space law. He had to reconsider the identity of the person in front of him. You are not qualified to know who I am. You only need to know that even if you have a high cultivation level, you can't stop me if I want to leave. You don't even have the ability to stop me. Swoosh. Linley didn't waste any more words. With a wave of his hand, he sent out a few more spatial blades towards the monstrous beast. This time, he didn't plan to test out Xiaolong's strength. He wanted to see if he himself would be able to withstand it. As he attacked, he sent a message to Ouyang, relax your mind. Don't try to stop me. Time is limited. I don't have time to explain. Remember, just relax your mind and body. Hearing Lin Rei's words, Ouyang's sword paused for a moment before he nodded. Although he did not know what Lin Rei meant, he did not dare to disobey his young master's order. Of course, more importantly, he believed that Lin Rei would not harm him. He relaxed his concealment and completely relaxed his body. At this moment, any hierarch realm demonic beast would be able to kill Ouyang effortlessly. Very good. Seeing Ouyang's trust, Lin Rei was gratified. He then shrouded Ouyang with his divine sense. A moment ago, Ouyang was still standing on the same spot with his eyes closed. The next moment, his figure disappeared. There was no trace of Ouyang's aura in the entire space. It was as if he was never there. Ouyang's disappearance was naturally noticed by the monstrous beast, and it attributed Ouyang's disappearance completely to the good fortune of Linley's laws of space. Space law, this guy, the demonic beast became wary of Lin Rei. He thought that he was just an ordinary cultivator with a powerful cultivation level. However, it seemed that he was not. He knew the divine power of space and the space law. These two were enough to make him wary. However, Lin Rei did not know about this. If they knew, they would definitely make a big fuss about it. Perhaps they could use this opportunity to escape. Of course, Lin Rei wasn't clear about the thoughts of the demonic beasts. What he was clear about was that the game had just begun. Swish. Lin Rei moved. With just a few space blades, it was impossible to inflict any damage to the monster beast. Lin Rei was well aware of this. He dashed out and appeared on top of the demonic beast's head in an instant. The Chaos Dragon spear appeared in his hand. He aimed the tip of the spear at the demonic beast's head and thrust it down. Clang! The sound of metal clashing could be heard as the Chaos Dragon spear pierced the demonic beast's head. However, what made Lin Rei feel deflated was that the spear was unable to pierce through the demonic beast's skin. What made Lin Rei feel even more disbelief was that the spear did not leave a single mark on the demonic beast's skin. Human, are you trying to scratch an itch for me? The demonic beast opened its mouth, its tone filled with disdain and mockery. Indeed, from its point of view, Lin Rei's attack was just like scratching an itch. It did not cause any substantial damage at all. And it was this move that completely destroyed the fear and wariness the demonic beasts had towards Linley. Not a single bit was left. After all this time, it turns out you're just a fucking paper tiger. Thinking back to his previous state, he felt an indescribable grievance. If this matter was known by those old fellows from his clan who didn't get along with him, it would become a topic of conversation after dinner. Just thinking about it made Linley's blood boil. His battle-intent soared, and he circulated his cultivation base. With a flick of his head, Linley was sent flying uncontrollably. At the same time, in the instant that Linley was sent flying, the demonic beast's gigantic tail appeared in front of Linley. From top to bottom, it slammed down towards Linley. Bang! Walala, raging waves appeared on the surface of the sea. Lin Rei was pressed down by the demonic beast's pressure and directly came into contact with the surface of the sea. When the two sides collided, it was not just a matter of cultivation base. More importantly, it was a matter of impact. Before Lin Rei could react, Lin Rei was instantly slammed into the sea. Puff! Purple blood spurted out from Lin Rei's mouth. His face instantly turned pale. The aura in his body became chaotic. His meridians flowed in reverse. Almost all of his ribs were broken. His limbs were not much better. The saint tools on the surface of his body had become dim under the impact just now. They were on the verge of breaking. Only the primal chaos dragon spear appeared in front of Lin Rei without any damage. A soft light enveloped Lin Rei. Streams of air spurted out from the primal chaos dragon spear and rushed into Lin Rei's body, beginning to repair the injuries in his body. Awoo! A dragon roar rang out. Dragon One's voice appeared in Lin Rei's mind. Master, your injuries are too heavy. You need to rest now. During this time, you cannot use your cultivation base. You also cannot use the slightest bit of Holy Spirit chi in your body. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable. Host, that's all I have to say. Please take care of your body. Don't joke around with your life. Linley was speechless. Dragon One's words left Lin Rei helpless. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he couldn't. In this situation, he simply couldn't make a choice. He also couldn't make any choice. But what made Lin Rei feel despair was that in front of this fellow, he didn't even have the strength to exchange a single blow. In just one exchange, he had been miserably beaten. Now, it was hard to say whether he would live or die. What should I do? Seeing the demonic beast's head getting closer and closer to him, Lin Rei's heart pounded. At this moment, his heart was blank. There was nothing in his mind except fear. Yes, fear. He never thought he would be defeated so miserably. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have foolishly acted cool. Now, it was all over. What was this? This was a kind of attitude of courting death. Moreover, Lin Rei perfectly interpreted it. Brother Lei, let me out. I will leave with you. Quick, let me out. Quick, Brother Lei. The scarlet flame tiger roared inside Lin Rei's body. Its tyrannical aura filled Lin Rei's body. However, Lin Rei chose to shield himself from the scarlet flame tiger's roar. He simply didn't care about it. Master, how about us 9 dragons work together to open a transmission tunnel and send you out first? After all, this isn't our battlefield. Awoo, awoo. Just as Dragon One's voice fell, a tyrannical dragon roar resounded. Yes, yes, Big Brother is right. Master, let's listen to Dragon 1 and work together to open a transmission tunnel. Please leave first. Where there's life, there's hope. The only way is to leave first. As for the matter here, it's not impossible to take revenge after your cultivation has increased. Chapter 1251. Lin Rei was speechless. He understood what the 9 dragons meant. However, the most important thing now was that there was no notification from the system. It meant that Lu Shusheng and the others were not out of danger yet. Therefore, he could not leave yet. As for what the 9 dragons said, where there is life, there is hope. It is never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. How could he not understand? No, when he thought of Lu Shusheng and the others, who somehow found the strength to forcibly prop up their heavily injured bodies that were on the verge of collapse, the Chaos Dragon's spear naturally revolved around Linley's body, and the draconic aura became even denser as it healed Linley. Hold on for a while longer. After Lu Shusheng and the others leave, you all will establish a spatial tunnel. Remember, you must listen to my orders. Seeing how persistent Linley was, Niu Long, who had originally wanted to say something, held himself back in the end. They were very clear about their master's temperament. Once he decided on something, even 10 bulls would not be able to change his mind. Not to mention, this matter was directly related to his breakthrough in cultivation. Helpless, the 9 dragons nodded and replied, Master, don't worry. I will do my best to complete the task you gave me. After that, the 9 dragons began to prepare the dragon origin. At this moment, everything was ready. As long as Lin Rei gave the order, the spatial tunnel would be completed in an instant. Lin Rei was very satisfied with the 9 dragons. He raised his head and looked at the demonic beast with anger. He had encountered many things in his life, but this was the most desperate situation he had ever encountered. If he could escape this time, he would be able to reach the pinnacle of Tao in the future. Of course, this was only Lin Rei's thought. As for this problem, the probability of it happening to him was basically 0. Because, having the system, he seemed to have used up all the luck in his life. Unless he could get some benefits from the system or the system, he would not get any other benefits. The meteoric lightning appeared in his hand. This was the first time he used it after obtaining it. As for the danger, he did not know. However, it must be very strong. Come, let me broaden your horizons. I am not an ant that you can casually bully. So, die. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Rei activated his Thunderfall sword and myriad sword arts. Myriad sword arts combined into one. At this moment, Lin Rei was serious. Of course, being serious was useless. His body was already in such a state. If he wanted to recover, he would have to pay a shocking price. Over 10,000 li away, Scholar Lu, Daoist Tian Quan, and Ouyang Shui did not stop to rest. Finally, they managed to escape from the beast horde and arrived at a quiet place. The 3 of them stopped. Lu Shusheng turned his head and looked around. When he was sure that there was no danger, he calmed down the fear and panic in his heart. Daoist Tian Quan, on the other hand, was different. After all, he had experienced many big scenes. Therefore, he did not feel anything. Hugging Ouyang Shui, he looked in the direction they had escaped. He felt an inexplicable admiration for Lin Rei. To be able to sacrifice himself to stop the beast tide that everyone else had no chance of winning, this kind of person was worthy of his admiration. However, admiration was one thing. If he was asked to stay, he would not be able to do it. Perhaps it could be said that he had not reached Lin Rei's level. Perhaps it could be said that he was afraid of death. As long as one was a human, no one could face death directly. It was the same for everyone. Even Lin Rei was the same. I wonder how Lin Rei is doing. Is it a blessing or a curse for Ouyang Zhen to stay behind so recklessly? Can his existence be of any help to fellow Daoist Linley? Or does he have any impression of fellow Daoist Linley? The uneasiness in their hearts was getting stronger and stronger. They knew very well that there were not many people who could survive such a beast tide. Even if they were lucky enough to survive, they would be trapped in that kind of fear and would not be able to extricate themselves. Who knows? Maybe Taoist Lin Rei can bring about a miracle. Maybe. The three of them let out a long sigh. They turned around and rushed into the distance. They did not look back and did not linger. However, just as the three of them successfully escaped from danger, Lin Rei, who was fighting with the beast, heard the system's notification in his mind. Host, Lu Shusheng and the others are safe. Plop, hearing the system's message, Lin Rei's strength seemed to have been sucked out of his body. He directly collapsed to the ground. Finally, it's finally done. Panting heavily, his face was full of dissatisfaction. After all, he was Lin Rei, the leader of the Xuanzong Sect, Lin Rei. However, with the beast in front of him, the danger was not completely eliminated. When the system said that Lu Shusheng and the others were safe and had escaped safely, Lin Rei also sent a message to the 9 dragons at the same time. Swoosh! Suddenly, the mysterious tunnel in the sea appeared. Without a doubt, this was the space tunnel that the 9 dragons wanted to come out of. The tunnel was not big nor small. It was big enough for Lin Rei alone. Sure enough, it didn't let me down. After saying that, seeing the beast getting closer and closer, he was too lazy to pay attention to it. Moving his tired body, he stepped into the space tunnel. Congratulations to the host for becoming the first leader of the Jiutian Xuanzong sect. The destiny you will bear is unlimited. Oh, destiny? What destiny? After hearing the system's words, Lin Rei suddenly felt that there was a huge hole in front of him, and he had to step into this hole. I'm sorry, host. This is not something you can know with your current level of authority. However, if you want to know, then quickly increase your strength. This way, you will be able to know more details. Damn, are you playing with me? Do you know the consequences of doing this? Aren't you afraid that I will cancel the relationship between us now? When that time comes, let's see if you can still. Oh, sure. But I forgot to tell you that the consequence of canceling the system is that you will be tortured by the flames of hell, and in the end, your soul will be scattered and you will never be reincarnated. Master, do you still want to cancel the relationship with me now? Damn, it seems that there is no other way. Now, even if I don't want to, I have to accept it. Okay, but before that, you have to give me some benefits. You can't just let the cow work and not let the cow eat, right? This doesn't make sense, don't you think? Seeing that he couldn't get rid of the system, Lin Rei accepted it. Master, you must be joking. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Little Dragon, a chaos weapon spirit born by this system, and my activities are limited to the system. What's going on? This scene, this person, this scene, this voice, this image quality, damn it, this scene is exactly the same as when I first got the system. Host, you have finally grown up. Thinking about it, you were still a young child back then, and now you have become an all-powerful expert, sweeping across both the immortal and divine realms. Now, you finally understand that it is better to rely on yourself than on others. I hope that the host will continue to work hard and reach new heights. Ding! Special title, Little Master Next Door, has been obtained. Chapter 1252. In the space tunnel, the moment Lin Rei stepped into it, many scenes appeared in his mind. They were the scenes of when he had just entered the cultivation world and obtained the system. However, he didn't expect that the system would directly give him a title. However, this title seemed to be useless for the current Lin Rei. Because, this title couldn't help him get out of this dangerous situation. In the outside world, the demonic beasts saw the space tunnel appear. The moment they saw Lin Rei step into it, they felt a surge of anger. Just think about it. A human with lower cultivation than them was able to escape unscathed in front of them. What was this? Provocation? That's right. This was a kind of provocation to them who were in charge of a clan of demonic beasts. They felt that their dignity was being challenged. For them, this was something that absolutely couldn't happen. Most importantly, this matter happened in front of their own clansmen. This was something that they couldn't allow to happen. Bastard, so what if you enter the space tunnel? A sinister expression flashed as it waved its huge tail. The moment Lin Rei entered the space tunnel, the huge tail instantly hit the space tunnel. Rumble, suddenly, inside the tunnel, Lin Rei, who had just obtained the title of Little Master next door, the tunnel around him suddenly began to shake. Turning around, his complexion changed greatly. He had a bad premonition. He saw that the entrance to the space tunnel had begun to fall apart. Although Lin Rei's cultivation of space divine power wasn't very strong, he was still able to understand the shattering of space. Even if someone who hadn't cultivated space divine power saw the shattering of the entrance, they would be able to imagine what would happen later. Master, this is bad. That demonic beast destroyed the entrance of the space tunnel. The space tunnel we condensed wasn't very stable. Now that it has been destroyed, it's very likely that, Long Yi paused and continued worriedly, it's very likely that the destruction of the entrance will lead to the collapse of the entire space tunnel. Therefore, Master, quickly think of a way to escape from here. If you enter the space turbulence, we don't dare to guarantee what will happen. Thump. Hearing the words of the 9 dragons, Lin Rei's heart jumped. Sure enough, the thing he didn't want to happen the most had happened. What he had felt before had now become a reality. Being sucked into spatial turbulence made Lin Rei's heart turn to ashes. Spatial turbulence was a place that even heavenly saints could not return from. Although saints could open up their own space, the existence of spatial turbulence was exactly what saints did not want to encounter the most. If Hong Jun was in the Tao integration stage, he might be able to resist the spatial turbulence. However, this was undoubtedly fatal to the current Lin Rei. What should I do? What should I do? At this moment, Lin Rei's mind was in a mess. He was no longer as calm as before. He was able to control everything. Previously, he had the 9 dragons to open up the spatial tunnel. Perhaps he had nothing to fear, but now, host, there's no point in blaming yourself now. As the saying goes, when it's time to use your knowledge, you'll regret not having enough knowledge. There's no point in thinking about all this nonsense now. What we should do now is to leave this place, leave this awe-inspiring place. F***ck, you make it sound so easy. Lin Rei despised the system's words. Anyone could say nice things, but in the face of absolute power, saying such things was tantamount to nonsense. Lin Rei, you can open up a new spatial tunnel. Although I can't guarantee that we'll be able to return together, it can greatly offset the current situation. Little dragon? Lin Rei was very familiar with this voice. Hurry up and communicate with the 9 dragons. Let them help you to open up a new spatial tunnel. However, it's very dangerous to open up a new spatial tunnel in the middle of a spatial tunnel. However, the chances of survival are very good. Long Yi, the 9 dragons, cooperate with me and open up a new spatial tunnel in the middle of the spatial tunnel. Hurry up. After saying that, Lin Rei immediately mobilized his spatial divine power. However, all the bones in his body were shattered. Coupled with the impact on his internal organs, such a big movement would naturally cause Lin Rei unbearable pain. Master, this is impossible. It's impossible to open up a new spatial tunnel in the middle of a spatial tunnel. Moreover, it's very likely that this spatial tunnel will be shattered. If it doesn't succeed, the final outcome might be even worse. Yes, Master. Have you thought it through? The 9 dragons began to question. It wasn't that they didn't believe in Lin Rei. It was just that this matter was too unimaginable. It had never happened before. One had to know that they were top experts when they were alive. They still had this little bit of common sense. It's good enough for me. Lin Rei was angry. At this time, it was useless to say such things. Wasn't the current plan to find a way to survive? Although all of this seemed impossible to them, since the little dragon dared to say it, it meant that the little dragon had seen this kind of thing before. Or perhaps, the little dragon had done it before. The 9 dragons didn't say anything. They didn't dare to say anything. Lin Rei's reprimand made them completely silent. They quietly listened to Lin Rei's reprimand. Listen to me. Cooperate with me to mobilize my spatial divine power and build a new spatial tunnel. Moreover, other than this method, do you have any other ideas? If you do, I will listen to you. But if you don't, then listen to me obediently. The 9 dragons fell silent. However, they didn't have any other choice. Thinking about it, the 9 dragons didn't hesitate. They mobilized their divine power. Suddenly, a terrifying spatial divine power surged out from the primal chaos dragon spear like a tide and rushed into Lin Rei's body. Boom! Suddenly, a vigorous spatial divine power surged into his body. Feeling the vigorous spatial divine power, Lin Rei smiled. His expression was sharper than his body. Open. The little dragon didn't retreat. Instead, it secretly guided Lin Rei on how to reopen another spatial tunnel. Gotcha. Gotcha. Lin Rei's actions were very fast. He started to reopen the spatial tunnel. Then, the spatial tunnel behind him started to collapse. Without a doubt, this was a death sentence for Lin Rei. It constantly reminded him that he couldn't afford to be careless. At this moment, it was a true race against time. It was a true confrontation with the god of death. It was a true comprehension that his strength was far from enough for him to walk freely in the saints' world. Faster. Faster. Lin Rei panicked. He raised his spatial divine power to another level. At this moment, he only hoped that he could survive. As for the price? It was nothing in front of him. Gotcha. The sound of bones shattering rang out in Linley's ears. In this moment, Linley truly understood what it meant to have one's body shattered and one's bones shattered. Chapter 1253. Crack, crack, the space continued to shatter and did not stop because of Lin Rei's pain. In the system space, the speed at which the space was shattering increased after Lin Rei rebuilt the space tunnel. Seeing that it was about to engulf Lin Rei, the little dragon's expression was full of vicissitudes. Sighing, Xiaolong shook his head. Many images flashed through his mind. There were images of his children, of his family living in harmony, of killing, of blood flowing like rivers, of millions of corpses lying on the ground. These images flashed through his mind one after another. On the contrary, Xiaolong's determination flashed through his mind. Have you decided? The system asked. There was a rare hint of sadness in its voice. Hearing this, the little dragon was silent for a long time. Then, it nodded and replied, I've decided. Ever since I was taken in by the system, I knew that there was only one outcome for me, and that was for the person who obtained the system. In times of danger, I would ask the host to stay. I knew this when I entered the system. This is also my destiny, and I can't change it. If Lin Rei was here and heard this, he would definitely understand the meaning behind the little dragon's words. At the same time, he would do his best to stop this from happening. Unfortunately, Linley had no idea what the two of them were talking about, nor did he know what they were talking about. Since you've decided, let's begin. However, you don't have to be discouraged. Just now, I extracted a trace of your soul. As long as the host can find a powerful treasure of heaven and earth, as long as the host can cultivate to break through, it will be enough to wake you up again. So, don't worry, you won't be. Although I told you about your ending when you came here, you've done well during this period of time. I believe that if the host knew that you died because of him, he would be very sad and might even walk the path of destruction from then on. This is not what the system wants to see. Moreover, without you, I'll be very lonely. Tisk, hearing the system's teasing, the little dragon rolled its eyes. Of course, its heart was filled with warmth. After all, they had been together for so long and had become best friends. With your words, I can leave without worry. He opened his arms wide and roared at the sky. Suddenly, his body expanded like a balloon. His body continued to expand until it reached the final boundary. Bung! A loud sound rang out in the system space. The little dragon died, and the moment the little dragon died, a rich amount of heaven and earth spirit chi gushed out of the system and entered Lin Rei's body. Boom! What's going on? Lin Rei was startled by the sudden appearance of such a huge amount of heaven and earth spirit chi in his body. Don't dilly-dally, hurry up and refine it. Use this spiritual energy of heaven and earth to speed up the construction of the spatial tunnel. The little dragon's voice sounded. Now, Lin Rei understood where the spiritual energy of heaven and earth in his body came from. Understood. Lin Rei did not waste his breath. He hurriedly circulated the chaos heavenly scripture and heaven-devouring mantra to refine the worldly spiritual energy in his body. At the same time, he sped up the construction of the spatial tunnel. Of course, all of this did not alleviate Lin Rei's pain. It only allowed him to speed up the opening of the spatial tunnel. Time passed slowly. In the blink of an eye, a few minutes had passed. Finally, under the sacrifice of the little dragon, the spatial tunnel was opened. Really reopened the Dragon Year Tunnel. This is too unbelievable, this is simply a miracle. Yes, this is simply impossible in our era. I didn't expect this to really succeed. Master is truly a genius. He actually did it. Looking at the reopening of the spatial tunnel, the 9 dragons began to praise Lin Rei's efforts. At the same time, they were amazed by the reopening of the spatial tunnel. Finally, it's done. Looking at the reopening of the spatial tunnel, Lin Rei squeezed out a smile with difficulty. However, because of the miserable condition in his body, his face was extremely pale. If it wasn't for his willpower controlling the heaven and earth spirit chi in his body, he would have already died. Kacha, Master, hurry up and go in. It's almost too late. Feeling the aura of the spatial turbulence behind him, Long Yi's expression changed greatly. He reminded Lin Rei. I know. Lin Rei understood. Moving his broken body, he took a step forward with difficulty and stepped into the reconstructed spatial tunnel. Kacha. The original spatial tunnel had already reached the extent of rupture. In an instant, it covered the reconstructed spatial tunnel Lin Rei had reconstructed. Give me the transmission. Lin Rei was very clear about the situation behind him. Now, the reconstructed spatial tunnel was affected by another spatial tunnel and returned to its original state. Master. The 9 dragons became worried. They didn't expect that even if they reconstructed the spatial tunnel, the final result would still be like this. Give me the transmission. Ignoring the 9 dragons, Long Yi stared ahead and roared. He poured in the last of his strength and raised his arms. The seals in his hands were constantly changing. Wang. Lin Rei's hands were constantly changing seals. A blue light flashed in front of him. This is transmission. Transmission array? Looking at the light in front of them, the 9 dragons were stunned. Their expressions changed. That's right, it was a transmission array. When he was reconstructing the spatial tunnel, he had already expected this scene to appear. Therefore, when he was reconstructing the spatial tunnel, he built a transmission array that could transmit people. Although he didn't know if it would be useful or if it could be used to transmit people to this place, but, in this situation, there was no need to care about that. Wang. The transmission array activated. Lin Rei's figure appeared like a ghost. He turned around and looked at the scene of the space shattering. He faintly remembered this scene in his heart. Just wait. It won't be long before this noble one catches up to this level. From today onwards, this noble one will never let this scene appear again. This noble one will make all these disappear in front of absolute strength. Swish. Just as Lin Rei finished speaking, the blue light shone brightly. The transmission array activated. Lin Rei's figure disappeared from this spatial tunnel. Kacha, the moment Lin Rei disappeared, the spatial tunnel collapsed completely. It was instantly submerged in the vast space. In the Holy World, on an island deep in the Eastern Sea, Lu Shusheng and the others were currently on a cliff. They looked at the area where Lin Rei was and felt guilty. I wonder if we were right or wrong this time. That's right. This time, in the end, we have failed fellow Taoist Lin Li. The three of them were silent. Towards Lin Rei, there was a kind of shackle in their hearts. It was a kind of shackle that came from Tendo. If they couldn't break this shackle, they might not be able to reach the end of their cultivation realm in this lifetime. This was the price they had to pay for leaving. The price they had to pay for living. Chapter 1254. Yellow region, within a radius of 5,000 kilometers around Chu Yuan Valley, the scenery had changed completely at this moment. The originally chaotic, murderous, and bloody scene had completely vanished during this period of time. In the past 2 years, there were many sects within 30,000 miles of Chu Yuan Valley. However, only one sect remained. The Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect. That's right. After Lin Rei left, Lin Yun and the others began to suppress the surrounding sects according to Lin Rei's orders. A sect that no one knew about gradually appeared before everyone's eyes. When the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect first appeared, the sects within 10,000 miles only looked at them with disdain. There was no other reason other than the sudden appearance of the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect. There weren't many people in the sect, only 60 to 70,000. A sect with this number of people was not worth mentioning to the established sects that had already taken root in the saints' world. And just like that, the sects that everyone disdained had, in a short 2 years, ruled 30,000 miles. Within 10,000 miles, those who complied would prosper, and those who disobeyed would perish. There was no exception. Originally, under the rule of so many sects, killing could be seen everywhere. The ordinary people and weak cultivators who lived within 30,000 miles lived in fear every day. In the past 2 years, with the rule of the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect, the area within 30,000 miles began to change. The weak were no longer on tenterhooks. They no longer had to worry about whether they would live their lives today or tomorrow. They were now living the most peaceful life they had ever lived. This was all thanks to the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect. Because of this, the name of the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect was known by all the sects within 30,000 miles. Now, no one believed that the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect was still the same existence that they looked down on. They began to feel fear, dread, and fear. They were afraid that they would be targeted by the Nine Heavens Xuanzong sect and their fates would be different. On the contrary, Lin Yun and the others did not give up just because they had expanded 30,000 miles. This was because it was not enough, far from enough. They were still far from the goal that Lin Rei had set for them. Jiutian Xuanzong sect Red Lotus stood in front of the Red Lotus Hall, her gaze locked into the distance. She did not conceal her melancholy. When will this kind of life be over? When will we be able to live a peaceful life? If I hadn't awakened those memories back then, if I hadn't chosen to leave you, perhaps all of this would have been different. In her mind, she couldn't help but think of the time when she chose to leave Lin Rei. At that time, she thought she was very noble. Who would have thought that in the end, she would realize that everything was because of her ignorance? And this kind of ignorance eventually brought about an indelible price for him. This price made her feel so much pain that she wished she was dead. Red Lotus. A man's voice interrupted Red Lotus's thoughts. What are you doing here? She didn't turn around. She was very familiar with this voice. Life. After 2 years of battle and cooperation, the two of them were already very familiar with each other. Ming's figure appeared beside Red Lotus. He had heard Red Lotus's muttering. He had heard a little about what happened back then. At that time, he was still angry about Hong Lian's departure. However, after spending some time with her, his anger had mostly disappeared. Sigh. He sighed and shook his head. Don't think about what happened back then. After all, what happened back then wasn't what you wanted to happen. It's just a memory from before. At least. He spoke a little more and continued, "At least we're still alive. That's more important than anything, isn't it? Moreover, we're alive because of young master's love. You should know what I'm trying to say." At this moment, the two of them met in silence. Neither of them spoke. They just looked into the distance quietly. "Princess, can we stop fooling around? You're a noble lady. Moreover, this person is full of experts. There's nothing good about him. If you save him like this, what if he's an evil person? What if he's a notorious bandit? What if he's what?" A girl in luxurious clothes with a crystal hairpin in her beautiful hair turned around and interrupted the middle-aged woman behind her. "Aunt Meng, you don't have to worry about this. Father once taught me that when I'm outside, helping others is helping myself. Moreover, saving a life is better than building a 7-floor pagoda. Look here." As she spoke, she pointed at the face of the man lying on the ground and continued, "How can such a handsome man be a bad person?" Aunt Meng was speechless. Aunt Meng was speechless. However, when she thought about the identity of the person in front of her, the vigilance in her heart increased instead of decreasing. Are you sure you want to save this person? Even if he was an evil person in the past?" Fan Jun asked with a serious expression. Looking at Fan Jun, Li Yunju nodded seriously and said seriously, "That's right. Even if this person was an evil person in the past, I'll do everything I can to save him. At the very least, I have to treat him. As for whether he's dead or alive after he wakes up, it's none of my business. After all, I'm the one who will treat him." Fan Jun understood Li Yunju's meaning. He nodded with a gratified expression on his face. "You've grown up. You're no longer the little witch who only knew how to eat, drink, and play." After saying that, Fan Jun seemed to have decided on something. A look of determination flashed across his eyes. He bent down and reached out to carry the man on his shoulder. He smiled and said, "Since our little princess has spoken, let's bring this little guy back first. After all, demonic beasts might appear at any time here. You're really going to piss me off." Aunt Meng stomped her feet angrily when she saw that the two of them were not stopping her. Then, she followed them. However, the three of them did not know that when they were on their way, a synthesized electronic voice appeared in the man's mind. Ding! Xuanzong Sect system restarted. Please wait, ding! Xuanzong Sect system restarted successfully. Adjusting state. Please wait, ding! Xuanzong Sect system restarted completely. Ding! Automatically scanning region introduction. Please wait, ding! Scan complete. Host is now in the empty nether domain. Ding! Automatically scanning host's body. Please wait, ding! Xuanzong Sect system scan successful. Host is now 95% damaged. Host, do you want to repair it? There was no sound. There was no response. Ding! Host is seriously injured. System adjustments cannot be performed. Before host wakes up, system will temporarily store it. Ding! Scanning host's physical body. Severe damage. Immediate repair is required. Host, do you want to? If Lin Ray was there, he would definitely give the system a few slaps. Of course, it was a pity that he was unconscious and could not move. Chapter 1255. Repair. Ding! Repairing the host's damaged body. Please wait. After the system notification, a warm current appeared in Lin Ray's body and started to heal him. Sigh. The host's injuries are too severe. I'm afraid it will take a long time to repair his body. Empyrean territory. Heavenly King Hung Tian capital. The Emperor's palace. Within Li Yunju's bedroom, Linli was calmly lying on the bed. His face was pale and bloodless, and his body was limp, as though he had no bones at all. A middle-aged man reached out and placed his hand on Linli's pulse. His face grew more and more unsightly. In the end, his face turned pale, and he stared at Linley in disbelief, as though he had just seen a ghost. How is this possible? The middle-aged man's reaction was obvious. He almost cried out in shock. Li Yunju saw the doctor's reaction and her face changed. She asked excitedly, "Dr. Wang, what happened to this young master? How did he wake up?" "Yes, Dr. Wang," Fan Jun asked. Fan Jun was waiting for Dr. Wang's reply anxiously. However, Dr. Wang was stunned when he heard the questions from the people behind him. His pale face softened a little. "Princess, this young master, where did you bring him back from?" Li Yunju was stunned. She did not expect Dr. Wang to ask such a question. Li Yunju did not hide anything from him. "I found him in the demonic beast's forest. It was a dangerous situation, so I saved him. However, I did not have a doctor with me, so I could only bring him back." "How is it? This young master's condition, the demonic beast's forest?" Dr. Wang was silent. He did not respond to Li Yunju's words as if he did not hear her. The demonic beast's forest? Why did this person appear in the demonic beast's forest? Moreover, all his bones are fractured. Even with such injuries, he is still alive. Who is this guy? Why did such a strange thing happen? Dr. Wang was silent. Questions appeared in his mind one after another. Lin Rei's condition was something he had never seen before in his life. Of course, this was probably the last time. After all, no one would really have nothing better to do and cause all their bones to shatter. It was too painful. Perhaps no one in the entire empty underworld region could endure this kind of pain. Dr. Wang? Dr. Wang's silence made Li Yunju panic inexplicably. It seemed that something bad had happened, and it was related to the man lying on the bed. "Dr. Wang?" Li Yunju spoke again. She was very anxious, very anxious. Oh? Princess. Imperial Dr. Wang, who was deep in thought, was awakened by Li Yunju. He immediately reacted and patted his forehead. He said, "That's strange. I'm sorry. I was absent-minded just now. Please forgive me, Your Highness." As he spoke, Imperial Physician Wang was about to kneel down. It should be known that the woman in front of him was the precious daughter of the Emperor. Even the Emperor doted on her and treated her like his own daughter. "Dr. Wang, we should avoid these unnecessary formalities here. I just want to know when he can do it and how strong he can be." As the saying went, things should not be done more than 3 times. This was the 3rd time Li Yunju had asked. Even if Li Yunju did not blame him in the end, Fan Jun would still do something or even report it. Seeing Li Yunju's sincere and anxious gaze, Imperial Physician Wang fell silent. He did not know whether to tell her about Lin Rei's condition. Fan Jun sensed Imperial Physician Wang's silence. He had been in the Imperial Court for a long time and knew everything. Thinking of this, he stepped forward and came before Imperial Physician Wang. He cupped his hands and said to Li Yunju, "Princess, why don't I send Imperial Physician Wang off first? The young man is lying on the bed now. The only thing we can do now is to bring the medicine back and let the young man drink it." "Of course." Suddenly, Fan Jun's expression changed as he sternly said, "His Highness will find out about this matter sooner or later, so, while His Highness is still in the capital, let's quickly inform His Highness about this matter." That's right. After all, she was a young lady. Hearing Fan Jun's words, Li Yunju's expression changed. She turned around and ran out of the room. Father should be back by now. In the blink of an eye, Li Yunju disappeared from the room. Now, only Fan Jun, Mao, Imperial Physician Wang, and Lin Rei were left in the room. Seeing Li Yunju's figure, Fan Jun turned around and looked at Imperial Physician Wang. He was stunned for a long time before he said, "Imperial Physician Wang, now that the princess has left, why don't you tell us about this young master's injuries?" "Yes, that's right." Aunt Wei agreed. Looking at Fan Jun and Mao, Imperial Physician Wang heaved a sigh of relief. He did not want to hide anything from them. He said, "To be honest, it's not that I don't want to tell you. It's just that this matter is too strange." "Oh." Fan Jun and Mao were stunned. They looked at each other and then turned to Imperial Physician Wang. They looked like they wanted to continue. The human body has bones. They are the most important thing that supports a person. However, Imperial Physician Wang's gaze fell on Lin Rei. He continued, this fellow's bones are all comminuted." "What? What?" Fan Jun and Mao exclaimed when they heard this. They could not help but look at Lin Rei. "Imperial Physician Wang, are you sure this is true?" "I'm sure. I'm 100% sure." Imperial Physician Wang turned around. He was silent. His gaze fell on Lin Rei. He had mixed feelings. What did it mean for a person's bones to be comminuted? "Sigh, but you don't have to worry." Imperial Physician Wang's voice sounded again. "This young man is strange. That's why he's strange." "Oh? What do you mean? How can a person whose bones are all comminuted still be alive? Moreover, I can feel that there's a very powerful force in this young man's body. It's healing his injuries bit by bit. This force is very powerful. It's so powerful that all of us together are no match for it." Imperial Physician Wang's face turned serious. He continued, "It's better to inform the Emperor equal to the Emperor to let him go back to where he came from. From now on, don't provoke this young man anymore." The room was silent. Imperial Physician Wang's words made sense. However, their resolute hearts wavered when they saw Lin Rei's tragic state. In the depths of the Emperor-equal's residence, Li Yunju stood in front of the door. She tidied up her messy clothes and reached out to knock on the door. She said, "Father, Zhu is here to greet you. You little girl." As soon as Li Yunju's voice fell, a middle-aged man's voice suddenly sounded calm. "Come in." "Okay." Chapter 1256. In the room, a middle-aged man was sitting in front of a desk. His face was as clear as jade. If he was young, he would definitely be a handsome man. Of course, he was also very handsome now. Especially his temperament. Sitting in front of the desk, he looked slightly dignified. Thinking about it, this person's life must be extraordinary. Looking at his daughter who pushed the door open, Li Jiping shook his head helplessly. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. If you were a boy, this personality would be suitable. But as a girl, why do you have such a manly personality? In the future, which young master will fancy you? Which family will dare to marry you? He didn't say it out loud. Looking at his daughter, he smiled. "Little girl, I just came back and you're here. Why are you looking for me?" He. Li Yunju smiled and stuck out her tongue. She quickly reached out and put her hand on Li Jiping's shoulder to please him. "Father, it's like this. I saved someone in the demonic beast forest. So, I thought I'd tell you when you came back. I think father won't disagree. Of course, Zhu has been following father's teaching since young. Saving a life is better than building a 7-floor pagoda. Zhu didn't embarrass you?" Afraid that her father would refuse, Li Yunju quickly said. "Heh, you little girl." How could he not understand Li Yunju's meaning? However, he still had his guard up against the person he saved from the demonic beast forest. What kind of place was the demonic beast forest? Those who could enter it were basically people who stood on the edge of life and death. He knew that this kind of person would disregard everything for their own interests. Saving a life? Heh, what a joke. In the demonic beast forest, not to mention saving a life, even if it was your own family, they would be vulnerable in front of benefits. Thinking about it, he turned to look at his daughter and said seriously, "Do you know who that person is? When you were saving him, did you see any of his companions or elders around?" Li Yunju shook her head. No, when I saw that person, he was already unconscious, but what? When I saw that person, there were many demonic beasts around. Those demonic beasts were very strong. Even if father came, you might not be able to deal with them. And this is the strange part. Speak clearly. Li Jiping said, his expression thoughtful. Those monstrous beasts lingered around that person for a long time, but in the end, they all left. Oh, that's not right. They didn't leave. It was more like they ran away. It was as if they had encountered something that scared them. There's such a thing? Li Jiping's curiosity was piqued. He stopped his daughter's words. He really wanted to see what the person his daughter was talking about was like. What made him even more curious was why the demonic beasts fled when there was clearly food right in front of them. Could it be that they had sensed something bigger than them? However, the moment this thought appeared in Li Jiping's mind, it was immediately discarded. If it was really as his daughter had said, then they should have already arrived at that place. If there were powerful demonic beasts present, why would Zhu, and the others be fine? Question, a huge question. This question left him puzzled no matter how hard he thought. What the hell is going on? Why didn't those demonic beasts eat him? As she muttered to herself, Li Yunju had already arrived in front of her father. Seeing her father in a daze and Ruirui's thoughts, she did not disturb him any further and quietly left the room. No, I can't be careless with such a person. Suddenly, he thought of something. He turned around and said, I say, daughter, that person you said at this moment, Zhu's figure was nowhere to be seen. There was only a wall. Damn, this little girl. She's not going to serve me anymore? He shook his head and did not probe further. He got up and walked out of the room. As for official business? He was not in the mood to deal with the apartment at all. Of course, at the very least, he would not care about these things before he figured out the other party's identity. In Li Yunju's room, Aunt Mian and Fan Jun stood in front of the window. They looked at the unconscious young man on the bed. Their expressions changed again and again. It was very complicated. Li Jiping was puzzled by Lin Rei. The two of them were even more puzzled than Li Jiping. Especially after hearing the results of the imperial physician's diagnosis, they were even more bewildered. This young man is not simple. It seems that we have to personally report this matter to the prince. It's better to get rid of this kind of person as soon as possible. He's too dangerous. Hearing Aunt Meng's words, Fan Jun heavily nodded his head and agreed, that's right. This kind of person is like a ticking time bomb in Wangdu. We cannot leave him here. We must send him away as soon as possible, or else, otherwise what? Just as the two of them were about to leave, Li Jiping's voice suddenly came from outside the door. Your Highness? Yes, they were very familiar with Li Jiping's voice. They turned around and looked at Li Jiping, who had just stepped into the room. Plop. The two of them immediately knelt on the ground and cupped their fists. Xiao Xiao and Fan Jun greet your highness. Get up. Looking at the two of them, Li Jiping waved his hand and walked up to them. His gaze involuntarily fell on Lin Rei, who was lying on the bed. SSS, this person was brought back by the princess. Aunt Mian replied. His injuries are very serious. According to the imperial physician's diagnosis, it's already a miracle that this person is still alive. Fan Jun interrupted. Oh. Li Jiping turned his head and looked at Fan Jun and Xiao Xiao with a puzzled expression. He waited for the two of them to continue. Your Highness, what this subordinate means is that this young man should be sent away as soon as possible. You have to know that all the bones in his body have been crushed and fractured. This subordinate doesn't know what that means, but this subordinate knows that if it were an ordinary person, it would be impossible for them to survive, let alone for so long. That's right, Your Highness. Such a person must have been very strong before. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to survive until now. So, Your Highness, we should, enough. Seeing that the two of them were getting more and more excited, Li Jiping waved his hand to stop them. His gaze fell on Lin Rei, who was lying on the bed, and he started to ponder. All the bones in his body were shattered and fractured. He was very shocked when he heard about it. It was even shocking. He had seen fractures before. Being in the military camp, fractures were nothing. But all the bones in his body were shattered and he was still alive. What was this? A miracle? Luck? He didn't believe that a person could have such miracles and luck. It seemed that this young man had to move somewhere else. This place was indeed not suitable for him to stay. Chapter 1257. Auntie Meng, this young man is a little strange. Putting aside the fact that he is seriously injured, just the fact that he was in the demonic beast forest means that we can't let him stay in the mansion. Your Highness, you mean? As she spoke, Auntie Meng and Fan Jun looked at each other. They had some suspicions in their hearts. Send this young man to the villa in the suburbs to recuperate. Use the best medicinal herbs every day. As for when he will wake up, that will depend on his luck. Plop. Hearing Li Jiping's words, the two of them immediately knelt on the ground and cupped their hands in obeisance. Your Highness is kind and benevolent. We will make the arrangements right away. However, don't worry. I will personally inform Zhu about sending this young man to the villa. Yes, Your Highness. After that, the two of them got up and arranged for some people to carry Lin Rei into the carriage. They then drove the carriage to the villa in the suburbs. Now, in front of Zhu Er's door, there was a hint of worry on his face. I don't know if today's decision is good or not. Forget it. I better inform Zhu Er quickly. Otherwise, I don't know what will happen. As he spoke, he walked towards the front yard. At this moment, Li Yunju came out of Li Jiping's room and went to the pavilion in the front yard. She sat down and drank tea. Zhu Er. Li Jiping's voice rang out, breaking the tranquil and picturesque scene. Father. Li Yunju got up and bowed to Li Jiping. Li Jiping nodded and continued, Father went to see the young man you brought back just now. Father went to see him? Li Yunju was a little surprised. She did not expect her father to go personally. Nonsense. You brought him back personally. As a father, how can I not care? However. At this point, his face turned serious and he said, Look at you. As a girl, how can you let a man lie on your bed? Our family has more than 100 rooms in the town. How can you? Forget it. As for this matter, there will be a next time. Remember this. I understand, Father. Li Yunju stuck out her tongue mischievously and nodded. Yes. Oh, that's right. Just now, Father instructed Aunt Meng to bring that young man to a courtyard in the suburbs to recuperate. You can take care of him during this period of time. After a while, it will be His Majesty's birthday. At that time, no matter what, you have to express your gratitude, right? As for that young man, you don't have to worry about him. With Auntie Meng here, he will get better. Listening to her father's arrangement, Li Yunju did not refute. She nodded, I understand, Father. Since it's His Majesty's birthday, I naturally have to express my gratitude. After all, His Majesty usually takes good care of me. However, although he appeared calm on the surface, his heart wasn't the same. What's wrong with sending him to the side courtyard? In any case, since he knows me, he'll come back. I have to take care of him to the end. Of course, Li Yunju naturally could not say these words out loud. If he did, the final result might not be what he wanted. Seeing that his daughter was so sensible, Li Jiping nodded with gratification. That's my good daughter. Since that's the case, then Father won't disturb you anymore. After he finished speaking, he waved his hand and turned around to leave. Looking at her father's back view, Li Yunju muttered, the courtyard. Although that place is good, it's too remote. It seems that I have to visit more often in the future. In the suburbs, Auntie Meng brought Lin Ray to the courtyard. After making arrangements for Lin Ray, she left. The courtyard was gone, but there were countless servants. As long as they came regularly to take a look, there would naturally be no problem. However, just like that, 2 years passed. Lin Ray still did not show any signs of waking up. During this period, Li Yunju secretly came to visit many times. Li Jiping came twice. When he saw that Lin Ray was still unconscious, he did not pay any attention to him. He even gave up on him. After 2 years, there were no signs of him waking up. This made Li Yunju, who originally had hope, completely disappointed. Ding! The initial recovery of the body is complete. Host, please check. The system prompt sounded in Lin Ray's mind. In the system space, Lin Ray sat cross-legged on the lake. When he heard the system prompt, a rare smile appeared on his face. The recovery is finally complete. This time, the injuries are too serious. If not for the system, I'm afraid I wouldn't even have the hope of standing up now. With that, his figure disappeared from the system and returned to his body. It's still too difficult. The initial recovery is only to repair my bones, but they are very fragile. If I don't consolidate them, I'm afraid that any ordinary Dao fruit saint will be able to tear me apart. Feeling the situation in his body, Lin Ray could not help but smile bitterly. Thinking of the monster that had injured him, Lin Ray hated it to the bone. After more than 4,000 years, this was the first time he had been injured so seriously. It was so serious that his cultivation had directly dropped by several levels. Looking at his current late-stage Divine Monarch Realm cultivation, Lin Ray smiled bitterly in his heart. Late-stage Divine Monarch Realm cultivation. Sigh, I've suffered a great loss this time. With that, his eyes suddenly opened. A bloodthirsty gaze flashed past. He used his strength and sat up on the bed with both hands. His gaze swept around and looked at everything around him. He was puzzled. What is this place? I didn't look carefully before because I was cultivating. Now that I think about it, this place doesn't seem to be the holy world. Actually, Lin Ray had already awakened. It was just that his soul had been cultivating in the system, so he did not know where he was, let alone what the surrounding environment was like. Now that he had awakened and felt the saint's spiritual chi around him, he felt that there was no saint's spiritual chi around him. There was not even the lowest level of spiritual chi. There was only some spiritual chi that he did not know about. This spiritual chi was very large, but there was also an indescribable feeling. System, where am I now? Ding, the host is now in the empty underworld realm. Empty underworld realm? Lin Ray was dumbfounded. What was this empty underworld realm? Why had he not heard of it before? Ding, the host's authority is insufficient. Everything within the empty underworld realm cannot be extracted. Please experience it for yourself. Ding, the most important thing for the host now is to recover his cultivation and find a chance to leave this place. Return to the holy world. Of course. The host can treat this place as an instance dungeon. Hearing the system's reply, Lin Ray was stunned. Insufficient authority? Instance dungeon? What the F***ck was this? How could it be insufficient authority? He did not understand. Naturally, it was impossible for him to get anything out of the system. Because of this, Lin Ray could only give up. However, he was curious about this empty underworld realm. After all, this was a place that he had never been to or heard of before. He stood up and waved his hand. A plain robe appeared on his body. He walked to the door and opened it. A glaring ray of sunlight shone into Lin Ray's eyes. Damn, this is killing me. Chapter 1258. Slowly opening his eyes, Lin Fan had already adjusted to the light and his eyes felt much more comfortable. At this moment, Lin Ray could clearly see the scenery in front of him. Although it wasn't extravagant, it was still considered top-notch in the mortal world. Heh, I didn't expect to be saved by a tycoon this time. Thinking about his current situation, Lin Rei smiled bitterly and shook his head. Alright, this way, I might be able to understand this so-called empty nether realm through them. Thinking about it, Lin Fan walked out. Although his cultivation base was lowered, he didn't lose it completely. With a single step, he appeared in the front yard. There were people on the road, but Lin Rei's speed wasn't something that mortals could see clearly. Not bad. Feeling the spiritual energy around him, Lin Rei was surprised. Although it was different from the spiritual energy in the holy world and the divine world, it was only slightly weaker. Ding! The spiritual energy here is very helpful for the system to reach the king realm. Ding! Main quest, in the empty nether realm, complete the system's breakthrough to the king realm. Quest reward, physical body upgrade by 1 realm, chaos dragon spear upgrade by 1 level, 3 chances at the lottery. Damn! This. Lin Rei was dumbfounded. What is this? This is the F*King capital, the capital to become stronger. The 2 rewards this time were much more useful than all the previous rewards. Just by upgrading his physical body by 1 realm, wouldn't that mean that his physical body would reach the Earth Saint realm? Reaching the Earth Saint realm with one's physical body was much more powerful than reaching the Earth Saint realm with one's cultivation base. There were many benefits as well. Anyone would be happy to receive such a thing. Not bad, not bad. It seems like the benefits of leveling up the system are proportional. If this was in the past, let alone upgrading his physical body, even if his cultivation base was upgraded by 1 realm, he would be happy. Ding! Side quest, help the Emperor escape from danger and help him become a grand champion. Quest reward, the chance to leave the empty nether realm. What? The Emperor What do you mean? Lin Rei was dumbfounded. He was just praising the system for being more humane during this period of time. In the end, just as he finished praising it, something like this happened. Was it trying to ascend to the heavens? He understood that, according to the words of planet Aqua Blue, the position of the Emperor could be said to be second only to one person and above everyone else. It could even be said to be on the same level as that person. However, why was it called the king who stood shoulder to shoulder? Where was he? Could it be, he seemed to have thought of something? It was impossible for the system to give out quests for no reason. There had to be some sort of connection. If that was the case, he looked around and started thinking. Xiaolu, have you heard? What? His Highness just gave a greeting at the border, and I heard that His Majesty personally went out to greet him. What an honor. Upon hearing this, Xiaolu's countenance changed. He glanced to the left and right before speaking. Little Blossom, don't talk about it anymore. Didn't you hear? During this period of time, rumors have been spreading in the restaurants in the city, saying that Our Highness's achievements are so great that even the Emperor is shocked. Not only that, some of the civil officials have already submitted memorials to the Emperor. Even the military generals are jealous of Our Highness's authority and have also submitted memorials to the Emperor. Hence, let's not talk about this matter anymore in our residence. After all, if people with ulterior motives were to hear about it, I'm afraid it might cause trouble. It's really the Emperor His spiritual sense was focused on the 2 servants, and after hearing their discussion, he understood what was going on. Seems like the quests given by the system are all connected. This time around, the Emperor saved me, and the system wants me to repay his kindness. After thinking about it, a smile appeared on his face. Seems like I have something to do this time around. However, although he was happy, he couldn't forget that his daughter, Lin Xian was still waiting for him at home. Would he be able to return in a little more than a year? Also, he didn't know how long he had been unconscious for. If a year had passed, then Xian host, don't worry. All of a sudden, the system spoke. This place is the void underworld realm. Although I can't tell you everything you want to know about this realm, I can tell you the things you are worried about. Oh. Yes, that's true. You're very worried about your little girl. However, I can tell you very responsibly that the flow of time here is many times slower than in the saints' world. Even I am a little shocked when I see it. 100 years here is equivalent to a year in the holy world, or even longer. So, don't worry and complete the quests here. Take good care of yourself. The rewards for the quests here are extremely abundant. Really? Lin Rei hesitated. Upon hearing Lin Rei's doubt, the system rolled its eyes. Of course, believe in the system and you can obtain eternal life. Scram. Do you think that with this Lord's current lifespan, I still need the word eternal life? The system fell silent, but Lin Rei was extremely happy. Ever since the system became humorous, this was the first time he was able to rebuke the system. Haha. Isn't it just helping the Emperor equal to the Emperor complete his quests? Just you wait. Just you wait until this Lord returns to the holy world. At that time, you will tremble for this Lord's return. After saying that, he thought of his 2 daughters and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was behind Xiaolu and Xiaolu. It's inconvenient to stay here. With these people, it might be more convenient. Lin Rei thought to himself. When he used his divine sense to check the entire courtyard, he found that there were a total of 37 servants. Half of them were women, and the other half were servants. The 2 in front of him were the ones in charge of the maids. 2 ladies. Ah! 2 screams came out from Xiaolu and Xiaolu's mouths as they quickly retreated. The 2 of them were extremely pitiful at this moment. Their bodies were trembling like frightened rabbits. You are, Xiao Hua was still able to react. After she screamed, she raised her head and looked at Lin Rei. The moment she saw Lin Rei's face, she was stunned. She was extremely familiar with this face. Wasn't this the person she had served for 2 years? You're awake? She regained her senses and asked in a weak voice. Yes. This Lord wants to thank the 2 ladies for taking care of this Lord during this period of time. I am truly grateful. So, this Lord will give the 2 of you a chance. After saying that, 2 fragrant elixirs suddenly appeared in his hand. He handed it to the 2 ladies and continued, these 2 elixirs will allow you to become outstanding. It will also allow you to escape the fate of old age and death. Of course, the only side effect is that you will become my subordinates. In this lifetime, you will have to work for this Lord. This is a very good deal. You should be very interested in immortality, right? Xiaolu, is this young master stupid? Xiao Hua looked at Xiaolu when she saw Lin Rei's actions and couldn't help but ask. Yes, I think so too. How about this? I will call the imperial physician over now. At the same time, I will also call Aunt Meng and the princess over. We will see how this matter is resolved. Okay, you go ahead. I will watch. After saying that, the 2 of them discussed. Xiao Hua stayed behind while Xiaolu hurriedly turned around and left, disappearing from Lin Rei's sight. Their conversation naturally couldn't be hidden from Lin Rei. Looking at the little girl who left, Lin Rei smiled and didn't mind. In Lin Rei's opinion, the little girl's departure was just because she was not fated with him. His gaze landed on Xiao Hua. Looking at her, Lin Rei felt a little more interested. Little girl, that lady just left. It can only mean that you are not fated with her. After thinking for a long time, he continued, this Lord knows that you don't believe what I said just now. After saying that, he took a step forward and grabbed Xiao Hua's wrist. He said, this Lord wants to see where he is. Since that's the case, you will accompany this Lord. You will instantly prove that this Lord is not lying. Young master, you, feeling the irresistible force on her wrist, Xiao Hua was caught off guard for a moment. She wanted to break free, but that hand was too strong. It was like an iron clamp. It was so tight that she couldn't do anything. Whoosh, although he was in an unfamiliar environment, his cultivation was still there. There was no problem there. Lin Rei's figure instantly disappeared from the spot. As for Xiao Hua, she was naturally carried by Lin Rei. They flew up to 1,000 meters in the air and stood proudly, looking down from the sky. Heh, not bad. This city is quite big. However, Lin Rei felt the situation of the people in the city. After sensing the situation in the bodies of the people in the city, he understood a little. There were also cultivators in the city. However, they cultivated using the spiritual qi of the nether space. As for the cultivation realm, Lin Rei didn't say anything. After all, every place had its own cultivation system. However, according to the cultivation system, the strongest cultivator in the city was only in the out-body realm. Sigh, it seems like this is just an era of magic. Out-body realm cultivators, this. Thinking of his cultivation realm, he felt that he had to use a saint to fight for the emperor equal. If the people of the holy world or the divine world knew about this, they would probably laugh their heads off. A saint had to deal with low-level cultivators to complete his mission and obtain cultivation realm. At the side, Changhua was completely dumbfounded. He stared blankly at the scene below and felt the breeze in the sky. He was extremely shocked. Forget it. Seems like if I want to leave as soon as possible, I have to help the emperor equal to heaven unify the divine world. After saying that, he shook his head. Then, he brought Xiao Hua and disappeared in a flash. When he reappeared, he was at the peak of a mountain. He let go of Xiao Hua's hand and looked at her with interest. He didn't say anything. He wanted to see when this little girl would wake up. Just like that, Lin Rei kept waiting. He was going to take this little girl in. It wasn't just because he didn't have anyone to run errands for him. More importantly, this little girl's spiritual root was very strong. It was a thunder spiritual root. If it was refined, it might be a good treasure. At this moment, in the system space, Ouyang Zhen was sitting cross-legged. He was playing with the dragon scale fish in his hand. Relax, I will get you out of here. Young master. Hearing Lin Li's voice, Ouyang Zhen quivered and instantly jumped up. His eyes scanned the surroundings as if trying to find Lin Li's location. Swoosh. Suddenly, Ouyang Zhen, who was looking left and right, was dazzled. The scene changed. A moment ago, it was a paradise. The next moment, he was at the peak of a mountain. The visual impact made him feel like he was going to collapse. Damn, what is this place? The scene is too lousy. Indeed, Ouyang Zhen wasn't exaggerating. The system space was modified by Lin Rei. It was basically filled with spiritual herbs, although they were low-level ones. Ha, you. Seeing Ouyang Zhen complaining, Lin Rei shook his head helplessly. However, in the next moment, his face turned serious. He said, "Feel it carefully. What is different about this place?" This place. Ouyang Zhen released his divine sense and closed his eyes to feel it carefully. However, just as he closed his eyes, he suddenly opened them. He looked at Lin Rei in shock. Young master, this place, feel it, right? I feel it. The spiritual energy here isn't from the holy world. However, it seems to be nurturing something that even the spiritual energy of the holy world doesn't have. Not bad. You are worth teaching. Hearing Ouyang Zhen's answer, Lin Rei couldn't help but nod his head. This place isn't the holy world. It is a place called the Void Underworld. It seems like my original body was sent to this place by the teleportation array in the space tunnel. Young master, you built a teleportation array in the space tunnel and you even succeeded? Ouyang Zhen was shocked. He didn't know anything before this. Therefore, when he heard Huang Xiaolong's words, he was shocked and even terrified. Let's not talk about this first. I called you out this time because I have something to tell you. After saying that, he pointed at the dazed Xiao Hua in the distance and said, "This sovereign intends to hand this little girl over to you. You can set the conditions. Of course, if you want to accept her as your disciple, this sovereign won't stop you." Yangzhen's gaze followed Lin Rei's gaze and landed on Xiaohua. Looking at Xiaohua, Yangzhen was dumbfounded. Although Lin Rei said it so casually, how could he not understand the meaning behind it? Without thinking, he turned around and agreed. Young master, don't worry. Leave this little girl to me. I will definitely nurture her into a cultivator who can shake the world. Very good. Don't worry. This little girl's aptitude is very strong. She has a rare thunder spiritual root and a very high grade. If you work hard, she might surpass you in the future. Alright, let's go and take a look first. It's not certain if she will accept you. After saying that, he stood up and brought Yangzhen to Xiaohua's side. He waved his hand and pulled her back to reality. Little girl, now you believe that this sovereign didn't lie to you. Xiaohua came back to her senses and looked at Lin Rei. Instinctively, she was in awe of Lin Rei. However, under the awe, there was more fear. Don't worry. This sovereign won't teach you personally. After saying that, he gestured to Yangzhen. This is this sovereign's subordinate. His cultivation is very high. Even if you want the stars in the sky, it won't be a problem. You just have to tell him. This sovereign only has one request. Absolute strength and loyalty. Chapter 1259. Little girl, you should know my young master's strength. As long as my young master wants to, he can destroy all living things in the world at any time. Don't you feel great to have such power? You can enjoy the respect and admiration of the mortal world. Come, join us and become my disciple. That way, you will enjoy unprecedented benefits. You will also be immortal and live as long as the heavens and earth. Yangzhen's words were extravagant. Then, he stretched out his hand and handed it to Xiaohua. Give me your hand and you will get all my skills. By the side, Linley treated it as if he was watching a show and did not open his mouth. But towards Yangzhen's flowery mouth appearance, he only felt that it was funny. Be immortal? Be immortal? Are you kidding me? He hadn't even reached immortality yet. Even a Tao reunion sage might not be able to live as long as the heavens and earth. At every level, one's lifespan would increase with the increase in cultivation. After reaching the Tao reunion realm, one's lifespan would become a string of numbers. As for how long one could live, even the person involved wouldn't know. However, Yangzhen's words were completely different in Xiaohua's ears. After all, she was immortal and didn't have such a broad vision. She believed in being immortal and having the same lifespan as the heavens and earth. Especially after seeing Lin Rei's ability just now, she was even more convinced. She couldn't give up such a good opportunity in front of her. Thinking about the days when she was treated as a servant, although she didn't have to worry about food and clothing, it wasn't what she wanted after all. Plop. Looking at Yangzhen, Xiaohua knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Xiaohua greets master. Haha. Lin Rei laughed. The matter was done. Originally, he just wanted to control her. However, when he thought of her cultivation and how much Yangzhen cared about him, he changed his mind. Now, it seemed that this idea wasn't bad. It was Yangzhen's good fortune to have such a talented disciple. Looking at the kowtowing little blossom, Yangzhen smiled. There was nothing he could do about it. Thinking back to his previous life, other than scheming against each other, he was fighting for more cultivation resources for his people. He had never thought about having a disciple before. With a wave of his hand, a gust of pure Saint Spirit Qi rushed out and transformed into a gentle hand that lifted Xiaohua up. Little Blossom, what a joke. Not good. Your name doesn't sound good. Since you're my disciple now, you can't use that name anymore. After saying that, Yangzhen fell into deep thought. On the other hand, Flowery looked indifferent. This name had accompanied her since she was young, so she didn't care. He did not say anything, just stood there quietly, waiting for Yangzhen to speak again. Got it. After a long while, Yangzhen came back to his senses. He looked at Little Blossom with a smile and said, "Since you've decided to follow me, I'll give you the surname Ouyang." Ouyang. Ouyang Ting. Ting as in graceful and beautiful. From today onwards, your name shall be Ouyang Ting. Ouyang Ting. Ouyang Ting muttered this name to herself. Instantly, a smile appeared on her face. Clearly, she liked this name very much. "Thank you for the name, Master." Ouyang Ting kowtowed and thanked him. "Yes, that's settled. There's still a way to address him." "Address?" Ouyang Ting was puzzled. She did not understand what he meant. Yes, that's right. Addressing someone was very important in the holy world, especially when it came to addressing someone as master. It was even more important. On the side, Lin Rei was the same. He understood what Ouyang Jing meant, so he didn't say anything. Looking at Ouyang Ting, Ouyang Jing said, "Little Ting, in my domain, disciples don't address their masters like this. They address them as master. This is very important. So, from today onwards, you'll address me as master. Also, my name is Ouyang Zheng. I'm the patriarch of the Ouyang clan in the Yellow Region Sea City of the Holy World." Holy World? Yellow Region? Sea City? Ouyang clan? Unfamiliar names appeared one after another. Ouyang Ting searched through her memories and the map of the empty underworld domain, but she couldn't find this place. Yes, it's... Seeing that his new disciple didn't understand, Ouyang Zheng wanted to explain, "All right, you can explain this matter yourself in the future. The girl who left before seems to have returned. So, your previous master must have noticed that I'm no longer here. So, it's time for us to leave." As he spoke, he looked at Ouyang Zheng and said, "During this period of time, you have to quickly let your disciple enter the ranks of cultivators. Remember, you can't use those medicinal pills to increase cultivation. If you want your little disciple to become a true expert, then do as I say and polish him well. Otherwise, don't blame me if this piece of unpolished jade ends up being wasted." "Yes, young master. This subordinate understands." Ouyang Zheng guaranteed. "All right, let's go. We still have to walk around the city. This sovereign wants to see if this place is different from the holy world." Swoosh. Then, without waiting for Ouyang Zheng and Ouyang Ting to react, he quickly rushed out towards the huge object in the distance. Looking at Lin Rei's departing figure, Ouyang Zheng smiled bitterly. He turned his head to look at his dumbfounded disciple and sighed inwardly. Seems like after returning to the holy world, I have to bring her out more often. Otherwise, if she's so ignorant every time, it would be terrible. After making his decision, he grabbed Ouyang Ting's hand and said softly, "Let's go too." Then, Ouyang Zheng brought Ouyang Ting and chased after Lin Rei. Ouyang Ting also stepped into the air again. Heavenly King City, in front of the city gate, Lin Rei and the other two slowly walked over. Looking at the city of the mortal world, they were filled with emotions. In the holy world, there was no such city. Of course, it wasn't because it was huge. It was because compared to the cities in the holy world, this city was too small. In the sacred world, any low-level demonic beast would have some divine realm cultivation. If the sacred world was a city like the heavenly king of Hong, then the sacred world would have long become the world of demonic beasts, and that place would still be ruled by humans. "Let's go." With that, Lin Rei and the other two stepped into the capital and blended in. With Lin Rei's arrival, it was destined that the capital would no longer be peaceful. "Young master, find an inn and pay attention. I'll go take a look and see if I can find the entire map of the Nether Void region. At the same time, I'll ask around about the Nether Void region and see if it'll be of any help to our return to the holy world." "All right, go ahead." Lin Rei didn't stop him and waved his hand to let him leave. After Ouyang Jing left, Ouyang Ting followed beside Lin Rei carefully without saying anything. "Little Ting, you should be very familiar with this place. Find me a good inn." Yes, young master." Chapter 1260. In the outskirts of Heavenly King's city, a group of people, both men and women, hurried over. They dismounted from their horses and walked through the gate. "Greetings, Your Highness and Princess." After entering the gate, 5 guards knelt on the ground and kowtowed to Li Jiping and Li Yunju. Get up." Li Jiping waved his hand and the 5 guards stood up. They came to Li Jiping's side and stood there without saying a word. "Xiaolu, lead the way. I want to see who this young man is. He has been unconscious for 2 years and is able to get off the ground as soon as he wakes up. Moreover, Ling Ren is as good as you said." "Yes, Your Highness." "Xiaolu." If Linli was here, he would definitely know that this was the girl who had missed out on a life-changing opportunity. The girl walked out and led Li Jiping's group to the room that Li Jiping had previously stayed in. However, when they entered the room and saw that it was empty, their expressions changed. "Impossible, impossible. It's clearly, could it be that he is in the courtyard?" Xiaolu could not make up her mind. She turned to Li Jiping and told him her guess. Li Jiping mobilized everyone in the courtyard to search. But after 2 hours, the entire monastery, every room, every nook and cranny, had been searched. But in the end, there was no one there. There was no sign of Lin Li at all. What made them even more confused was that if Lin Rei had left, why did he bring a maid with him? In the hall, Li Jiping sat at the head of the table. Li Yunju sat at the side. Aunt Meng and Fan Jun were at the side. In the middle, Xiaolu knelt on the ground. Tears flowed down her face. Looking at Xiaolu, Li Jiping asked. This matter was very strange. He had to ask clearly, "Xiaolu, tell me what that young man did and said after he woke up." "That's right, Xiaolu. Hurry up and tell me. Xiaohua might be in that person's hands." Li Yunju said hurriedly. She liked Little Blossom a lot and they talked about everything. Therefore, she blamed herself for Little Blossom's disappearance. Hearing everyone's questions, Xiaolu raised her head and looked at everyone's expectant gazes. She sobbed and said, "Your Highness, Miss, this servant was with Little Blossom before, but that young master who had been in a coma for 2 years suddenly woke up and said he would give us an opportunity to repay us for taking care of him for 2 years. As he spoke, young deer blurted out everything that Lin Rei had told him. He didn't try to hide anything. In the blink of an eye, a quarter of an hour passed. Everyone was confused, especially when they heard that the young man wanted to give Xiaolu a type of immortality pill that would allow them to transcend the mortal world. Everyone was stunned, subconsciously wondering if the young man had gone crazy after sleeping for 2 years. However, Li Jiping was the only one who had a calm expression from the beginning to the end. However, waves were surging in his heart and he was no longer calm. He knew a thing or two about the secrets of a country's king. Perhaps others didn't think there was such a pill in this world, but he was different. Not only did he believe in it, but he was also looking for people. The other party was definitely a cultivator. At this moment, he looked at Xiaolu with a bit of pity and regret. That's right, if she had agreed back then, the ending would have been different. If it had been him back then, he probably would have agreed without hesitation. The path of cultivation was something he greatly desired. Although his current cultivation base wasn't low, without a true cultivator, it wasn't even worth mentioning. After pondering for a long time, Li Jiping regained his senses and looked at Xiaolu kneeling on the ground. He sighed and waved his hand. "You can get up." After saying that, he looked at everyone and continued, "If you see Little Blossom in the future, you must remember not to treat him like a normal person. You must be polite. As for Little Blossom, just pretend he never existed. In the future, no one will pursue this matter. As for that young man, if he leaves, then he leaves. He's not someone from the same world as us." However, when Fan Jun and the others heard Li Jiping's words, it did not sound the same as what Li Jiping had said. It sounded completely different. Their thoughts were the complete opposite of what Li Jiping had said. Li Jiping wasn't sure about this. "Alright, that's all for now. You can all disperse." After saying that, he turned and walked out, leaving everyone confused. Humph, ungrateful thing. My princess saved him. Now that he's awake, not only did he not repay her kindness, he left without a word. What's the meaning of this? That's right. You don't know how to repay kindness. When you saved him back then, you didn't expect him to be such a person. Fan Jun complained. Humph. When I said I wouldn't save him back then, what did you say? You even objected. Now look, I saved an ungrateful wretch. Are you satisfied now? The two started their daily quarrel. At the side, Li Yunju listened to their quarrel. She was sad because of Lin Rei's departure. Now, she couldn't stand their quarrel. Alright, both of you are in the majority. Why are you still quarreling? After saying that, she turned and left, leaving the two of them with an awkward back view. It's all your fault. Great. The princess is angry. Let's see how you deal with this. You're blaming me. It's all your fault. You keep quarreling with me. Can't you give in to me a little? The two of them fell silent and stopped quarreling. Instead, they were a little embarrassed. After a long silence, the two of them turned and left, ignoring each other. In Scenery Garden in Heavenly King City, Lin Rei sat at the dining table. Ouyang Ting stood behind Lin Rei out of habit. This action made Lin Rei feel helpless. Little Ting, you are no longer a servant. You are Ouyang Zhen's disciple. In the future, you will become a strong cultivator. So. As he said that, he pointed at the seat beside him and said, Go over there and sit down. Let the Empress have a good meal. How can this be? Ouyang Ting shook her head quickly and retreated in shock. Why not? Lin Rei knew her thoughts very well. After entering the cultivation world, he often saw this. However, he didn't have such thoughts. In his opinion, Ouyang Zhen was his subordinate, and Ouyang Ting was Ouyang Zhen's disciple. This was naturally acceptable. No, young master, listen to me. Ouyang Zhen is my subordinate, and you are Ouyang Zhen's disciple. Therefore, you should listen to me. Therefore, my orders are greater than anything else. If I ask you to sit down obediently. Don't think too much about it. After saying that, he reached out his hand. Suddenly, an uncontrollable force appeared and affected Ouyang Ting. She couldn't control herself. Her body uncontrollably moved to the seat beside Lin Rei and sat down. At this moment, Ouyang Ting still felt like she was in a dream. She had never received such treatment before. She didn't even dare to think about it. Could it be that I have really changed my fate? Chapter 1261. After you settle down, take this and ask your master to give you a cultivation technique. Then, you can raise your cultivation level. As for the problem of your Dao foundation, I will choose a body cultivation technique for you after this period of time. You can patch up the holes in your cultivation. After that, the problem of cultivation will be solved. Oh, right. He seemed to have thought of something and continued, Do you have any family here? Or do you have any relatives? This. Ouyang Ting was silent. Tears appeared in her eyes for some reason. She looked away and looked out of the window. What's wrong? Sigh, I don't have any relatives. My mother has passed away. As for my father. She paused and her tone turned cold. As for my father, it doesn't matter whether I have him or not. Back then, it was because my father went to second mother and was instigated by second mother to sell me. If it wasn't for Princess Yunju, I'm afraid that I would be living a life worse than death, or already dead. At this point, she could no longer hold back her tears. They flowed down her face uncontrollably. Looking at the tearful Ouyang Ting, Lin Rei sighed in his heart. There wasn't much benefit in this matter. In the world of cultivation, such things often happened. To mortals, cultivators were gods. They were people who could control their lives. In the world of cultivation, as long as a cultivator wanted to, they could destroy a city and wipe out the people in the city. As for the royal family of the mortal world, as long as they were given the corresponding benefits, this matter could be left unsettled. Of course, even if they wanted to pursue the matter, they had to consider their own abilities and whether they could contend against the royal family. Sigh. He patted Ouyang Ting's shoulder and comforted her. All right, this kind of thing will not happen in the future. The current you is different from the past. Even if the emperor of this world is in front of you, as long as you are unhappy, your master can destroy the entire heavenly King Hong with a single slap. Of course. Once you enter the world of cultivation, there is no turning back. You are destined to fight for it. Moreover, the world of cultivation is different from other places. It is even crueler than the mortal world. When it comes to killing and arson, the strong are respected, and the fittest survive. Only when you have enough strength can you guarantee your own survival. Therefore, in the future, when you face enemies, kill them. If your enemy doesn't rise or is about to be killed by you, but you feel pity for them and want to let them go, then the final result may be your death. At this moment, Lin Rei's expression was very serious, just like a teacher teaching his disciple. Remember, as long as it's an enemy, regardless of whether they're male or female, old or young, kill them. In the face of those who can threaten your life and are hostile to you, as long as you discover that they have done something unfavorable to you or have unfavorable thoughts toward you, kill them. In short, other than your family and friends, you have to be vigilant everywhere. Or you can put it this way. In the entire world of cultivation, other than yourself, everyone else can harm you, including your best friends, relatives, and lovers. Listening to Lin Rei's teachings, Ouyang Ting fell silent. Previously, she had thought that her life had changed, but after hearing these words, she suddenly felt that the cultivation circle seemed to be even more complicated and ruthless than the one she had lived in before. I understand, young master. Ouyang Ting regained her senses and nodded heavily. She had already made a decision in her heart. Since she had stepped on this road of no return, there was no possibility of turning back. She could only forge a path that belonged to her. And, remember your limits. There's still a lot of time in the future. You'll understand that what I said today wasn't excessive at all. In the future, you'll even see the ugliness of people's hearts. This will be far more painful than your previous life. After saying this, Lin Rei didn't say anything else. She had just stepped into the world of cultivation. If he said too much, he was afraid that Ouyang Ting would lose her heart to continue. However, what made Lin Rei slightly surprised was that in Ouyang Ting's eyes, there wasn't the slightest bit of decadence or retreat. There was only determination, an extremely resolute expression. Not bad. This child, if she can rise, perhaps in the future, she will be an existence that can become a strong expert. Lin Rei was very satisfied with Ouyang Ting, especially her resolute eyes and her talent. More importantly, she was now in the best period of cultivation. Therefore, Lin Rei believed in his own eyes. Young master, my honored master, he. Changing the topic, Ouyang Ting thought of her own honored master and asked. Ignore him. He has his own things to do. He'll be back in a while. The most important thing now is to finish eating. Go to your room and take the pills. Wait until you reach the foundation establishment stage. After saying this, he waved his hand and the waiter walked over from afar. Both of you, what can I do for you? The waiter stood still and asked. Looking at the waiter, Lin Rei asked, when will the dishes we ordered be served? How long has it been? Hearing this, the waiter was stunned. He quickly smiled and said, both of you, please don't panic. I'll go down and rush them. Please wait a moment, please wait a moment. Go, hurry up. He waved his hand and dismissed the waiter. At the side, Ouyang Ting was naturally a little restless. After all, although she had been to such a high-end restaurant before, she had never thought that she would sit down and eat like the host. The sudden change made her a little uncomfortable. After all, her life had been like this for more than 10 years. Now that it was suddenly changed, anyone would find it hard to accept. She needed time to adjust. Lin Rei understood Ouyang Ting's uneasiness. He looked at the people around him and then looked at the coarse clothes of Ouyang Ting's servants. He frowned and his eyes lit up. He remembered that the clothes and accessories that Xian had asked him to refine were still in the storage ring. "Little Ting, I have some clothes and accessories for girls. Go to a room and change into them before coming back." After saying this, a set of clothes and accessories appeared in Lin Rei's hand and he handed it to Ouyang Ting. Looking at the beautiful clothes and accessories, Ouyang Ting was stunned. To be honest, she didn't dare to accept them. However, thinking that she was no longer a servant in her status, she gritted her teeth and agreed. "I understand, young master." She reached out to take them and walked away. After seeing Ouyang Ting leave, Lin Rei's gaze fell on the street outside the window. Looking at the people coming and going and the heavy traffic, Lin Rei fell into deep thought. He still didn't know what to do with the mission issued by the system. At the same time, he felt that the mission issued by the system this time was a little too simple. To help a prince unify a mortal country and overcome difficulties, this was a piece of cake for him. However, was the system really giving such a mission to him? Or perhaps there was another meaning in this mission. Chapter 1262. In front of the city gates of Heavenly King's City, there was a group of people dressed in commoner clothes. However, from the way they stood, it could be seen that they were elite soldiers from the military camp. "Today, all of you only have one mission. Find me one person in the capital, no, two people. A man and a woman. The woman is Xiao Hua from the capital. She's the young man who was rescued by the princess." The person who spoke was Fan Jun. After returning to the imperial city, he felt that he could not take it lying down. In the end, he gathered his subordinates and caused this scene. He turned his head to indicate something at the side. He took out dozens of portraits of Lin Rei and said, "These are the portraits of that young man. Find him, tie him up and send him to the imperial city." Do you all understand? When everyone heard Fan Jun's words, they straightened their backs and said loudly, "Understood. Then each of you can take one." After saying that, he turned around and went to Aunt Meng, who was not far away. He said, "Just wait. I want to see what kind of person that young man is. He is so ungrateful. And Little Blossom. She doesn't care about the kindness the imperial city has shown her over the years. She would rather leave with a stranger who has been unconscious for 2 years. Don't let me see her. If I see her, I will let her know that there is a price to pay for betraying the imperial city. This price will be unforgettable for her." Looking at Fan Jun, a trace of worry flashed across Aunt Meng's eyes. "Fan Jun, do you think this is a good idea?" "What?" Fan Jun turned his head to look. "Your Highness hasn't said anything. If we do this privately, wouldn't it be too reckless? Moreover..." As she said that, she reached out and pointed at the dozens of people. She continued, "These are all from the military. If someone with ulterior motives finds out that our imperial city has mobilized the military without permission and reports this to His Majesty, our imperial city will be in danger." Fan Jun was silent. Indeed, the imperial city was at the center of the storm. If something happened, it would arouse His Majesty's sympathy. After all, the imperial city's achievements were so high that it shocked His Majesty. If they mobilized the military without permission, it would arouse His Majesty's suspicion. However, when he thought about the confidentiality of this matter, he immediately felt relieved. From the beginning to the end, he had been dealing with this matter with a fluke heart. He waved his hand and said confidently, "It's fine. Don't worry. As long as we find that kid, these people will immediately return to the army without delay. Don't worry." After saying this, he gave her a reassuring smile. Regarding this, Aunt Meng understood that it was already too late for her to say anything. The dozens of soldiers had already left. Sigh, let's hope so. Shaking his head, he turned around and left. At this moment, Lin Rei, who was in the restaurant, didn't know that Fan Jun had sent people to search the capital because of his departure. In the restaurant, Lin Rei was still looking out of the window with nothing to do. Now, he couldn't go back. The only thing he could do was to complete the mission so that he could have a breakthrough later. Young master. Just as Lin Rei was pondering silently, Ouyang voice sounded from the side, pulling Lin Rei back to reality from his contemplation. He turned his head and looked at Ouyang. A smile appeared on his face as he said, "Sit down. Let's talk about that matter." "Yes." Ouyang replied and sat down. He took a sip of water and said seriously, "Young master, just now, I went to look for a map of the empty netherworld. Unfortunately, there is no map of the entire empty netherworld. There are only maps of the surrounding empires. As for the empires outside of those empires, there is nothing." "Oh." The news brought by Ouyang really surprised Lin Rei. An empire without a map of the empty netherworld. What surprised him even more was that the empty netherworld seemed to be under the control of an empire. In here, he didn't hear anything about the sect. Could it be that the empty netherworld was really different from the holy world and the divine world? "Young master, let's put this matter aside for now. The most important thing now is the Emperor's Equal King Mansion." What happened? Hearing about the Emperor's Equal King Mansion, Lin Rei became even more serious. After all, as long as he completed the mission, he could leave the empty netherworld and return to the holy world. More importantly, he could break through his cultivation. This was very important to him. Right now, the entire Emperor's Equal King Mansion was under his protection. Seeing Lin Rei so serious, Ouyang was shocked. He understood that this matter was very important to Lin Rei. He said seriously, "The Emperor's name is Li Jiping, and he has a daughter named Li Yunju. In these years, Li Jiping's achievements have shaken the Emperor. The imperial court is very hostile to him. Moreover, I heard that the Emperor of Hong Tian wants to seize power from him." "Is that so?" Thinking about the mission given by the system, Lin Rei became serious. Although he knew that there were no strong cultivators here, he still couldn't underestimate them. "Ouyang, after you help Xiaoting break through to the Foundation establishment realm, go and intimidate those officials who are a threat to the Emperor's Equal King Mansion. Tell them that if they dare to go against the Emperor's Equal King Mansion, they will have to pay a price they can't afford. Of course, when appropriate, exterminate a few families to intimidate them. As the saying goes, knock the mountain to scare the tiger. This sovereign doesn't want to appear early for these ants. Do you understand?" The follower didn't know why Lin Rei wanted to care about the matters of the mortal world, but he didn't dare to disobey Lin Rei's orders. He nodded and replied, "Understood, young master." After saying that, he looked around, "Young master, why didn't I see my disciple?" Don't worry, she went to change her clothes." Understanding Ouyang worries, he said, "As a cultivator, not to mention a half-sage's disciple, dressing is very important. This sovereign doesn't want her to embarrass you." After saying that, he looked around and saw a beautiful figure standing at the door. Lin Rei was stunned and smiled bitterly. "I didn't expect this girl to be a real beauty. I didn't notice her before. Your disciple is here." After saying that, he pointed at Ouyang direction. Turning his head, he looked at the direction Lin Rei pointed. When he saw Ouyang, he was stunned. Looking at his disciple, Ouyang felt like he was dreaming. The previous Xiao Hua could be said to be a country bumpkin. But now, after changing her clothes, she was completely different. In their eyes, they were used to seeing those ethereal beauties. When they saw the tattered clothes of the mortal world, they naturally couldn't stand it. But now, Ouyang changed into the clothes given by Lin Rei. Naturally, it gave them a different feeling. "Can't you be more reserved? Your saliva will come out." Looking at Ouyang current appearance, Lin Rei shook his head helplessly. However, to be honest, Ouyang Ting's appearance in the holy world was comparable to the holy ladies in the holy world. It wasn't an exaggeration. Hee, isn't this because my disciple is too beautiful? I couldn't help it. Chapter 1263. Master, young master. Arriving in front of Lin Rui and Ouyang Ting smiled shyly and bowed. Not bad at all. I didn't expect you to be so beautiful after changing into this set of clothes. TSK. Yes. Ouyang Zheng did not hide his joy at all. He praised, shouting, your appearance is one of the best in the saints' world. Even the holy maiden of a sacred ground can compare to you. However, your cultivation is a little lacking. Of course, that's not important. As long as young master is here, it's only a matter of time before you catch up with the Holy Land's holy maiden. Then, he pointed to the seat beside him and said, sit down. After eating, master will help you build your foundation. After that, you can step on the path of cultivation. Got it. Ouyang Ting smiled and sat down. At this time, the dishes were served. Okay, let's eat. After that, the three fell into silence and began to eat. Ouyang Ting looked at the dishes on the table and her eyes were wet. These were things she didn't even dare to think about in the past. At most, she would let the servants eat the leftovers after the master finished eating. The three of them ate for a long time. Of course, the most important thing was for Ouyang Ting. On the way, Lin Rui kept ordering dishes. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't eat, Lin Rui would have ordered all the dishes in the restaurant so that Ouyang Ting could eat them all. Young master, I'll bring little Ting in first. After eating, Lin Rui looked at his seat with satisfaction and rubbed his stomach. He nodded and replied, go. Remember, your disciple's talent is very good. Don't waste it. Hearing this, Ouyang Zheng quickly nodded and understood, don't worry, young master. I won't treat my disciple unfairly. As long as I know something, I will teach it to her. This way, when we go out, I will be proud of myself. Okay, go. He waved his hand and dismissed the two. Yes, young master. We'll take our leave first. After saying that, the two of them bowed and cupped their hands in salute before leaving. Looking at the departing figures of the two, he shook his head with a bitter smile. His heart was filled with endless melancholy. Now that he had been out for so long, he wondered how his wife and children were doing. In the saints' world, he was worried about his family. There were plenty of powerful beings in the saints' world. If it were not for the fact that his sect had a few saints, he really would not feel at ease leaving. Third brother, look. Doesn't that person look like the person in the portrait that the commander gave us? Where? Old San turned his head and looked in the direction his friend was pointing. However, when he saw Lin Rui sitting by the window, his eyes widened. F***ck, it's true. Third brother was excited. What was this? This was his F***king chance to earn some merit. As he thought about this, he turned to look at his companion and instructed, you stay here and keep watch. I'll go get my brothers with the same name. Remember, you must keep an eye on them. This time, the opportunity to make a contribution is in our hands. Don't worry, you'll do it. The word render meritorious service was like a clap of thunder in the ears of these soldiers. In the army, it was extremely difficult for a small soldier to render meritorious service and be promoted. Therefore, this opportunity to render meritorious service was very important to them. Keep an eye on them. After saying that, Old San rushed out of the restaurant and walked towards the city gate. According to their previous agreement, Fan Jun was currently waiting in front of the city gate. After seeing Old San leave, the man sat down at the table closest to the door. His gaze swept over Lin Rui from time to time. In his opinion, he had already done his best to conceal himself. However, who asked him to meet Lin Rui? When he came in and spoke to Old San, Lin Rei had already noticed the two of them. Furthermore, Lin Rei heard everything that they said. His divine sense locked onto the man and he sneered in his heart. I don't think I have offended anyone. Who is this person? Why does he have my portrait? Also, what the hell is a commander? Lin Rei did not make a move. He wanted to see who was the person who dared to make a move against him. As the person involved, he wanted to see who he had offended. Fortunately, this was not the saint's world. Fortunately, Lin Wanyu and the others were not with him. Otherwise, the scene when you came down would not be as peaceful as it is now. It would definitely be bloody and terrifying. Especially Lin Wanyu. She would not listen to anyone's explanation. As long as someone dared to have any thoughts about Lin Rei, they would be courting death. In front of the city gate, Fan Jun looked at the chilling city wall. He held something that looked like licorice in his mouth and hummed a tune. Although it was unpleasant to hear, no one dared to make a sound. Commander, Commander. Old San came to the city gate and his gaze locked onto Fan Jun. He was so excited that he did not care about the people around him and directly shouted. Shit! Fan Jun, who was originally leisurely, heard this shout and his heart jumped. His expression changed and he stood up to stop the soldier who shouted. Looking at the person who came, Fan Jun waved his hand and said, Don't do it. If you have something to say, say it. Don't call me commander. Are you afraid that people don't know you are a soldier? Old San, who came to the front, was stunned when he heard Fan Jun's words. He turned around and told him about his encounter with Lin Rei. Commander, I just met the person you asked us to find in the restaurant. I was too excited and did not control myself. What? Fan Jun exclaimed and said excitedly, You found that person? And in the restaurant? Commander, didn't you say to be quiet? Why did you change your mind? Old San muttered softly. Go away. Looking at Old San, Fan Jun kicked him and said unhappily, I am me. We are not the same. Hurry up and lead the way. Let's go find that bastard. This time, I must loosen his muscles and broaden his horizons. I must make him remember that he must repay kindness and not be a heartless person. Yes, Commander is right. Old San agreed. Let's go. We will inform the brothers as we go. Old San led the way while Fan Jun followed behind. They used a special method to send a message to the brothers who were scattered to gather. So it's you. In the restaurant, Lin Rei, who was sitting at the table, smiled disdainfully. The image that appeared in his mind was naturally Fan Jun. When Old San left, Lin Rei activated his divine sense and followed Old San. Finally, he saw Fan Jun. He did not recognize Fan Jun. However, from Fan Jun's figure, he must be a soldier who had fought in the battlefield. Otherwise, he would not have such a strong killing intent. TSK, interesting. Chapter 1264. Time passed slowly. Lin Rei drank his wine as he waited for Fan Jun and the rest to arrive. 15 minutes passed, and the figures of Fan Jun's group remained within Linley's divine sense. Fan Jun's group grew larger and larger, from the original 2 to 35. Finally, they arrived at the entrance to the restaurant. Looks like I can have some fun. Looking around at the people eating, drinking, chatting and laughing, a smile appeared on his face. With a wave of his hand, a formation appeared within 1,000 meters. With this illusion formation and trap formation, let's see how you can escape. With that thought, he stood up and walked towards the man who was watching him from the restaurant. The man had been staring at Lin Rei. When he saw Lin Rei standing up and walking towards him, his heart trembled. He shouldn't be here for me, right? He felt that it was impossible, but in the end, things didn't go as he wished. When Lin Rei stood in front of him, he realized that he had been discovered long ago. He stood up and retreated. Looking at Lin Rei warily, he spoke. Young master, I wonder, stop pretending. You came to find this sovereign, and now you want to ask this sovereign how it is. Don't you think it's ridiculous? Looking at the man, Lin Rei laughed. You. The man was shocked. Of course, it wasn't just because he discovered his existence. More importantly, it was because he called himself this sovereign. In Hongtian Empire, only the highest-ranking emperor would call himself emperor. Yet, the man in front of him called himself this sovereign. Just this title alone was enough to make him understand a lot of things. Don't be shocked, Lin Rei waved his hand and continued with a smile. This sovereign will give you a chance to live. To tell you the truth, I have sealed off everything within a radius of 1,000 meters. Your role is to inform your true master. If you don't want all of his subordinates to die, then come here and personally take them back. Otherwise. Killing intent flashed across his eyes. You. Feeling Lin Rei's murderous aura, his body trembled and he backed away in fear. Finally, he leaned against the door frame and looked at the man in front of him with a pale face. Just an aura is enough to do this. If we really fight, then. The man shook his head and didn't dare to think further. He was afraid, terrified. All right, hurry up and leave. Remember, find your true master, because, he pointed outside and said, your commander is already here. So, you have to hurry up. Otherwise, this sovereign is afraid that my hands will itch and kill all those people. At that time, it won't be this sovereign's fault. Go. Before the man could finish speaking, Lin Rei waved his hand, and a pure Holy Spirit chi rushed out, instantly enveloping the man and throwing him out. This time, the real game had begun. Looking outside, the 35 people stood still and locked their gazes on the door. Looks like it's getting more and more fun. With that, Lin Rei stepped out of the door and sat on the door frame. His gaze locked onto the leader, Fan Jun, and he smiled. Little guy, I don't know why you're looking for this sovereign. You. Seeing Lin Rei's appearance, Fan Jun was startled and a wave of anger surged in his heart. Ingrate, you still have the nerve to say that? Oh. Hearing Fan Jun's words, Lin Rei was stunned. Ingrate, this was the first time he heard someone call him that after so many years. In the past, those people would either call him the devil or the demon emperor. This was the first time he was called an ingrate. However, Lin Rei admired his courage. An ant that could be killed with a spit at any time, dared to speak such arrogant words. With a thought, a bottle of wine appeared in his hand out of thin air. He poured it into his mouth and said with interest, Come, tell me, how did this ingrate come about? This sovereign seems to remember that it hasn't been long since I came to this world. Before this sovereign was in a coma. You really make this sovereign a little confused. This sovereign? Hee, boasting shamelessly. Do you want to have your entire family annihilated? This time, Fan Jun wasn't afraid of others knowing because this sovereign was enough to make him send out his troops. Annihilate my entire family. Not bad, you're right about annihilating my entire family. However, raising his head, the killing intent in his eyes became more intense. Within a radius of 1,000 meters, the temperature dropped to the freezing point. This time, Lin Rei's killing intent was aroused. This was because the words of these ants had touched his reverse scale. Not to mention whether you can annihilate this sovereign's family, even this sovereign's youngest son can annihilate the entire Hongtian Empire by himself. As for you, from your words, when you mentioned this sovereign's family, your life is not inferior to yours. As he spoke, he raised his hand and pointed his index finger at the man beside Fan Jun. Instantly, a white light shot out. Poochie. Plop. With a strange sound, the man that Lin Rei pointed his finger at suddenly fell to the ground. A bloody hole as thick as a finger appeared on the man's forehead. Red and white light gushed out from the bloody hole. Take this as the interest for your impertinent words. Don't worry, this matter isn't over yet. They will die one by one because of what you said just now. You will be the last one to die. However, before that, this sovereign will not be in a hurry to kill all of you. This is such a fun matter. If you don't wait for your master, wouldn't you miss out on a good show? You demon, you actually. Fan Jun was dumbfounded. He felt extremely shocked and guilty towards his dead brother. With regards to Linley's methods, he was shocked. Linley had remained calm and collected, sitting far away, yet he had been able to kill someone with a wave of his hand. What sort of methods was this? The guilt he felt towards his brother was even more intense. If he didn't speak up, his brother wouldn't have such an ending. Demon, TSK. Not bad. This sovereign likes this name. However, this is not enough. Because, you will soon understand what a real demon is. After he finished speaking, without waiting for everyone to regain their senses, he waved his hand and the formation that he set up earlier was activated. What is going on? Why is there fog in broad daylight? The appearance of the formation changed drastically. In broad daylight, the dense fog instantly enveloped everyone present. When this scene appeared, Fan Jun subconsciously thought of Lin Rei's action of waving his hand. Could it be? No, impossible. How can he possess such strength? He didn't believe that a human could possess such strength. His divine sense locked onto Fan Jun, who was in the formation, and smiled. Little guy, have fun. I believe that you will have a lot of fun. Chapter 1265. The man who had been released by Linley hurriedly rushed in. The guards at the gate didn't stop him, because they had all seen this man before and knew him. He was a centurion in the army and had been to the capital before. They had a deep impression of him. Aren't you Lu Wei? Just as Lu Wei rushed into the mansion, Li Yunju walked over from afar. Li Yunju was stunned when she saw Lu Wei. A centurion should be training in the army at this time. Furthermore, a centurion wasn't allowed to leave the barracks without orders from his superiors. Furthermore, he was in her home. If someone reported him, the consequences would be unimaginable. Princess. How could he not recognize Li Yunju? Looking at Li Yunju, Lu Wei felt as if he had seen a life-saving straw. He stepped forward and knelt in front of Li Yunju. Princess, please bring this subordinate to see His Highness. Time is of the essence. If we don't hurry, this subordinate is afraid that the commander's life will be in danger. What danger? What commander? What are you trying to say? Li Yunju frowned. She had seen Lu Wei's anxious look, but the things he said were all jumbled up and out of nowhere. He even said that he wanted to see her imperial father. Princess, Commander Fan Jun brought more than 30 people with him today. He gave each of them a portrait and ordered us to search for him in the capital. Just earlier, this subordinate found that person. However, who would have thought that that person was extremely powerful? Merely his aura caused this subordinate to feel an unforgettable feeling. That dense killing intent, that despair-inducing coldness, this subordinate saw a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. As for that young man, he was like a king standing above the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood. No, that's not right. He's not a king. He's a devil. A terrifying devil. Although Li Yunju was still confused by Lu Wei's words, she understood the crux of the matter. Young man, portrait, Fan Jun, could it be? Li Yunju suddenly thought of something. She looked at Lu Wei and asked, "Give me the portrait Fan Jun gave you." Hurry, yes. Lu Wei didn't refuse. He took out the portrait and handed it to Li Yunju. Li Yunju didn't say anything. She picked up the portrait and looked at it. When she saw the face of the man in the portrait, Li Yunju was dumbfounded. As expected, this Fan Jun doesn't listen to father's orders. The portrait was naturally Lin Rei. As for the portrait of an old fan, Li Yunju naturally understood the original meaning behind it. However, what made her angry was not that he had dealt with the young man, but because Li Jiping had clearly stated time and time again that he was not to do anything improper to the young man. How long had it been since then? He had completely forgotten about it and even sent out a centurion from the army. How could she tolerate this? What's going on? Why is the princess so angry? And why did she say that we were acting on our own? Lu Wei's vision blurred. He didn't understand anything, but he could clearly feel Li Yunju's intention. Ma. 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 The feeling of impending death suddenly arose. He was afraid. He was afraid that the young man would kill him. He didn't want to die yet. There were old and young at home. How could he say that his family depended on his salary? Thus, he couldn't lose his reputation here. Speak. And what? Li Yunju's interest was piqued. Lu Wei raised his head and looked at Li Yunju. Gritting his teeth, he closed his eyes and continued, "The young man said that if your highness is too slow, those people will die. And they will die a painful death. Not a single one will be left alive." What? Li Yunju was furious. Although she was furious that Fan Jun didn't listen to military orders, he was still the one who watched her grow up. She couldn't let anything happen to him. "Get up. I'll go look for father now." Without waiting for Lu Wei's response, she turned and ran towards the depths of the royal capital. After all, she grew up in the army camp. In Li Jiping's room, Li Jiping was sitting in a chair with a gloomy expression. He had just received a report that Fan Jun had brought over 30 centurions out of the army camp. His goal was unknown. This news was like a bolt from the blue, striking Li Jiping's heart. He had never imagined that his own commander would disobey military orders and ignore military rules to mobilize centurions without permission. This crime could be considered small, but it was also a crime as great as the heavens. Disobeying military orders was a crime that was forbidden in the army. Bang! Fan Jun had been following him all this time, so he knew him very well. He really didn't understand what was going on that made him mobilize the army. Didn't he know that this would easily arouse the suspicion of the emperor? Fan Jun had been following him all this time, so he knew him very well. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Unfortunately, it was too late. As soon as he received the news, he sent scouts to investigate. But who would have thought that the scouts would report that they couldn't find anything? "Father." Li Yunju's voice rang out in the silent room. Li Jiping's gloomy expression softened when he heard her call. "Zhu, what is it?" Looking at her daughter's panting appearance, she stood up and brought a cup of tea to her. "Slow down. It won't be too late to talk after you drink some tea." Li Yunju, seeing that his father was not in a hurry and did not get angry, Shaochen rolled his eyes and said unhappily, "Royal father, Uncle Fan Jun is leading more than 30 centurions in the city. They are surrounding the youth that I saved earlier and allowed to leave with Little Blossom." "What?" Li Jiping exclaimed. His hand trembled, and the tea in the teacup spilled onto his hand. His face sank. Thinking of the information he had just brought back, he could confirm the whole story. After all this time, it turned out that they were looking for the young man. "No, they are surrounding, here." This word made Li Jiping feel uneasy. Others might not understand, but he was very clear that the other party was powerful. "Father, Centurion Lu Wei just came back and said that the young man asked him to bring a message." "What message?" Seeing the tense expression on her father's face, Li Yunju was taken aback. She didn't think too much about it and continued, "The the young man asked you to hurry over. Otherwise, Uncle Fan Jun and the others will be killed, and they will die in agony. F***ck, as expected, this thing still happened. It was because he was afraid that the young man would go on a killing spree that he ordered his men not to search for the young man and to let nature take its course. However, the matter that he didn't want to see had happened, and it was done by his own subordinates. That bastard, he must be tired of living. Chapter 1266. Then what should we do now? Do we really have to listen to that person and go find him? At this moment, Li Yunju was a little afraid of her father. Since she was born, this was the first time she had seen her father so angry. Of course we have to go. Li Jiping nodded, tidied up and walked out. Although he hated his subordinates for not listening to orders, Fan Jun had been with him for many years. They had a deep relationship. He could not just watch him get killed. Of course, before going, he thought of his own strength. If he did not trust Fan Jun, he would take out the favor he owed him. In short, as long as the two of them came out, it would be fine. Looking at her father's back, Li Yunju was stunned. She quickly followed him. In the restaurant, in the illusion and trap arrays, Fan Jun and the rest were in a daze. You, Humph, let's see where you can run to this time. Just as Fan Jun was trying to find a way out, the fog in front of him suddenly distorted. Suddenly, a figure appeared. When Fan Jun saw that person's face, he was filled with anger. Without saying anything, he reached out and grabbed the hilt of his sword. He took a step forward and waved his sword. From top to bottom, he released his ferocious energy on the battlefield and slashed towards Lin Rei. Slash. Strangely enough, Fan Jun's warblade left behind a long, deep wound on Lin Li's back. You. Lin Rei turned around and looked at Fan Jun, feeling the pain on his back. His face was distorted and his eyes were bloodshot. Die for me. Seeing Lin Rei rushing towards him, Fan Jun did not want to fall behind. He took a step forward and raised his sword. Just like that, the two of them started fighting. In the outside world, Lin Rei was still sitting on the doorstep, drinking wine and looking at the illusion array. Fan Jun and his brothers were killing each other. This scene was very exciting. Kill, I'll wait for you to kill to your heart's content. It will be you who will fall into pain and despair. Looking at the bloody scene, the corner of his mouth rose. A bloodthirsty smile flashed. That's not enough. Looking at the scene, although it was exciting, it was not enough. After all, there was no point in watching mortals fight. Oh right, that little girl. Suddenly, he thought of Ouyang Ting. He communicated with Ouyang Zheng with his divine will and sent a voice transmission. Ouyang Zheng, how is it? Has little Ting built her foundation? In a room in the backyard of the restaurant, Ouyang Zheng and Ouyang Ting were sitting across from each other. Ouyang Zheng, who was resting with his eyes closed, suddenly heard Lin Rei's voice. His body trembled as he communicated with Lin Rei, replying, Young master, not only has little Ting completed her foundation building, she's also practiced my cultivation technique. She's now at the 9th layer of the Qi refining realm. According to what you said, my foundation is solid and my Taoist root is stable. If I practice according to what you said, I'm afraid that I won't be a match for her when she reaches my level. Hearing this, Lin Rei was overjoyed. Good, whatever he wanted had come true. Wake little Ting up. Tell her that the first lesson of becoming a true cultivator has officially begun. Young master, you won't. Ouyang Zheng hesitated. As a cultivator, he understood what the first lesson of becoming a cultivator, which was also the most important lesson of becoming a cultivator, represented. Lin Rei understood and Ouyang Zheng knew what he meant. He didn't hide it and nodded. Yes, you should understand that if you want to become a true cultivator, you must pass this hurdle. Don't stop me. I'm doing this for her own good. Don't tell me you want her to enter the true cultivation world and be killed by others immediately. This time, Ouyang Zheng was silent. He understood these reasons, but when he thought of little Ting, who was only 16 years old, he couldn't bear to let her do those bloody things. However, okay, young master. I'll wake little Ting up now. After saying that, he cut off the communication with Lin Rei. He opened his eyes and looked at his disciple who was cultivating. A trace of pity flashed through his eyes. Alas, what will come will come. After saying that, he stood up and transmitted his voice. Little Ting, wake up quickly. Follow me to where young master is. Young master wants to give you a mission to become a true cultivator. While cultivating, Ouyang Ting woke up. She opened her eyes and saw the trace of pity in her master's eyes. She didn't understand why, but she stood up and bowed. Yes, master. Ouyang Jing nodded and brought Ouyang Ting to Lin Rei's side in the front yard. When he raised his head and saw the scene of fighting in the fog, Ouyang Jing understood. Since you're here, then go. With a clang, a long sword appeared out of thin air and fell to the ground. He looked at Ouyang Ting and said, Little Ting, whether you can become a true cultivator or not is up to you. Whether you want to become a dragon or a worm, or be looked down upon by others in the end, it's up to you. Raising his hand, he pointed at the formation and continued, There are some mortals who don't know what's good for them. They want to be disrespectful to me, but I trapped them in the illusion formation. Go in. I'll help you avoid the illusion formation. Kill anyone you see inside. Remember, don't be merciful because the cultivation world is thousands of times more dangerous than this. If you can't even pass this time, I don't think there's a need for you to enter the cultivation world. At the side, Ouyang Jing felt sorry for his disciple, but he didn't stop her. He understood that if he stopped her, it wouldn't be good for her future. Master, looking at the long sword in front of her and hearing the miserable screams coming from the fog, she was afraid. She never thought that there would be such a day. Little Ting, young master is right. If you want to become a cultivator, this moment is indispensable. Go. Don't worry and do it. No one will do anything to you here. I'm watching. After saying that, without waiting for Ouyang Ting to speak, spiritual energy rushed out and brought Ouyang Ting into the fog. Ouyang Zheng's voice came into her ears, Little Ting, remember, in the cultivation world, it's either you die or I live. If you want to live, use the sword in your hand and protect yourself. Hearing this, Ouyang Ting subconsciously clenched the long sword in her hand. Her forehead was sweating and her face was pale. She didn't know if her body was excited or scared. She couldn't stop trembling. Outside the formation, looking at his disciple's appearance, Ouyang Jing couldn't help but plead, Young master, Little Ting is a kind child. Do you have any way to help her? Turning his head, he looked at Ouyang Jing and shook his head with a bitter smile, all right, since you're pleading for her, I'll help her. After saying that, he waved his hand and the formation changed. In the formation, a figure suddenly appeared. When Ouyang Ting, who was vigilant of her surroundings, saw the figure, her expression changed greatly. Her originally pale and vigilant face became distorted. Her eyes were bloodshot. Like a wild beast, she rushed forward with her sword in hand. Bitch, it's all because of you. If it wasn't for you, I would still be a spoiled child in front of my parents. I'll kill you. Chapter 1267. It was fine if she didn't go crazy, but once she did, she couldn't control herself anymore. She was like a ferocious beast that had been suppressed in her heart and finally broke free from its cage. That kind of feeling, that kind of freedom. At this moment, Ouyang Ting was in such a mood. Because of the illusory formation, in Ouyang Ting's eyes, those soldiers brought by Fan Jun had completely become her stepmother that she had sold. That kind of hatred came from the bottom of her heart. Usually, nothing could be seen. But now, because of the allure of the illusory formation, that kind of hatred could no longer be controlled and finally exploded. Icy Frost Sword Technique. Holding the long sword in her hand, she used the sword technique that Ouyang Jin had just taught her. I have to say, it was indeed just taut. Looking at that crooked and weak appearance, Lin Rei was shocked and uncomfortable. Although he wasn't a sword cultivator, he was still a sword user. He really couldn't stand Ouyang Ting's icy frost sword technique. He turned his head and looked at Ouyang Zhen, who was also embarrassed. He was suddenly discouraged and lost his temper. Looks like after this is over, I have to properly teach her sword techniques. I can't bear to let others know that she's a disciple of the Xuanzong Sect. Wouldn't the Nine Heavens Xuanzong Sect lose face? After making this decision, he stopped caring about Ouyang Ting. It wasn't that he didn't want to care, it was just that he really couldn't bear to look at it. On the other side, Linley was very happy as he watched Fan Jun slaughter everyone around him. He really wanted to see how Fan Jun would feel after he rejoiced and found out that the people he had just killed were all his old comrades. Die, die. All of you, die. Fan Jun was getting more and more excited. Facing Lin Rei's brothers, he didn't hold back at all. It could be said that each of his attacks was fatal. Oh, interesting. You're finally here. In his divine sense, a few figures flashed and rushed in this direction. He recognized Lu Wei among them. Wasn't he the man that he had let go before? You've come just in time. I'll let you see a good show. As he spoke, Lin Rei calmly formed a seal with his hand and rushed in the direction of Lu Wei and the others. The illusion array slowly dissipated and a bloody scene appeared. There were many corpses at Fan Jun's feet, all of them clearly in pain. Their eyes were wide open, as if they would never be able to forget what had happened before they died. Ouyang Zhen, pack up and get ready. Someone is coming to watch the show. We have to build a bigger stage. Looking at Lin Rei, Ouyang Zhen was puzzled. He didn't understand what Lin Lei meant. You don't understand? Lin Rei asked. Ouyang Zhen shook his head and said, I don't really understand. Of course, young master, if you tell me, I will understand. In response to Ouyang Zhen's reaction, Lin Rei directly slapped his forehead with a defeated expression. He helplessly shook his head and said, Didn't I tell you to go and offend the weak and intentionally offend the people of the Emperor's equal? Or kill some of them? Have you forgotten my words so quickly? No, how could I forget? Ouyang Zhen awkwardly smiled and scratched his head. He then looked at the disciples in the array and turned to bow to Lin Rei before flying away. I'm really convinced. How can I have such a stupid subordinate? He sighed and sat back down. Host, it's not that this system wants to criticize you. It's just that you are stupid. Now you have the face to say that others are stupid. What should I say about you? You're crazy. Lin Rei was dumbfounded. If the system didn't want to come out, it wouldn't come out. Now that it finally came out, it didn't earn anything. In the end, it opened its mouth to criticize him. Host, the system said that if you help the Emperor's equal succeed, you can just go straight to his door and force him to abdicate the throne. Isn't that enough? Do you still want to complete the mission in the Holy World? Do you still want to cure your daughter? Do you still want to get that crystal core? Do you still want to? That's right. Do you still want to? Yi Qingtang sneered. Do you still want to? All right. Before the system could finish its words, Lin Rei directly interrupted it with a look of dissatisfaction. System, you're really talking more and more. Is it because you've been absorbing the nether void chi recently and feel that the system is about to improve? You're thinking too much. The system was still as impolite as before. Alright, you don't have to care about this anymore. Just hurry up and complete the mission and leave this place. Why, I say you, alright, someone's coming. Hurry up and settle it. The system reminded and then disappeared. Fuck, that's it? Sensing that the system had cut off the connection with him, he helplessly shook his head. Forget it, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. He turned around and released his divine sense. His gaze fell on Li Jiping and the others. You're finally here. Too slow. Looking at Li Jiping, who was standing on the western side of the street, his lips curled up slightly. A trace of excitement and emotion could be seen in his eyes. He stood up and patted the dust off his clothes. Then he flew over to Li Jiping and the others. Looking down, he said, "Lu Wei, you're finally here. I thought you were too scared to come. But now it seems that I misunderstood you. You're not as cowardly as I thought you were." "Who is it?" A voice suddenly rang out, causing Li Jiping and the others to turn invisible. Their expressions were grave as they looked around. "There's no need to look for me. The reason I called you here is to let you watch a good show." With a wave of his sleeve, the fog around him dispersed and a bloody scene appeared in front of Li Jiping. Hiss. Seeing that bloody scene, Li Yunju subconsciously let out a startled cry and retreated. The others were also startled by this scene. Even Li Jiping, a veteran who had been on the battlefield for a long time, was greatly frightened by this scene. "No, that's..." Li Jiping looked at the back of the person who had wielded the saber to kill. Although he was covered in blood, Li Jiping still recognized the identity of the person. Fan Jun. What? Fan Jun? Aunt Meng, who had followed Li Jiping, opened her eyes and looked over when she heard what Li Jiping said. Her gaze lingered on Fan Jun's body. In the end, her gaze locked onto the saber in Fan Jun's hand. "That's right, it's Fan Jun. I got someone to forge this saber for him. Fan Jun usually carries it with him like it's his treasure." After saying that, Aunt Meng's heart trembled, and she felt an indescribable pain in her heart. "No, that's not right. Father, quickly look at what Uncle Fan Jun is doing." Just when they were sure that the person was Fan Jun, Li Yunju's voice rang out. Instantly, everyone became clear-headed. That's right. That person was indeed Fan Jun. However, who was the person he was killing? Thinking about it, Li Jiping raised his head and pondered. At this moment, Li Jiping was very glad that he had good eyesight. However, when he looked carefully, he felt as if he had been electrocuted. He felt unwell. What exactly is going on? Why would Fan Jun attack these people? Why is he so ruthless? Why? That's right. As the commander of an army, he recognized the so-called people under Fan Jun's saber. They were soldiers and centurions under his command. Furthermore, the corpses lying on the ground were centurions that he had carefully selected. All of them were brave and skilled in battle. They were all very brave. However, all of this went down the drain just like that. His good brother from the past had completely disregarded their past relationship at this moment and was fighting with all his might. It was as if both sides didn't know each other, but there was some deep hatred between them. Every move was fatal, leaving no survivors. How is it? Is this scene nice to see? Lin Rei's voice rang out in everyone's ears again. What exactly do you want? Why are you treating the special forces like this? Is there some enmity between the two of you or, no, you're that unconscious young man? Finally, Li Jiping came online. That's right. I am the young man that was unconscious for 2 years. However, in front of me, don't call me young man. My old bones add up to almost 5,000 years old. Calling me young man is a bit shameless. Lin Rei rubbed his chin and slowly said. Lin Rei was the type of person that would shock everyone with his words. Once he opened his mouth, everyone present was stunned. 5,000 years old. What kind of concept was that? Perhaps there were people that could live past 5,000 years old in Kongming. However, they had never heard of anyone that could live past 5,000 years old. Say. Senior, this junior is being impulsive. However, this junior still wishes to ask. How exactly did my subordinates offend senior for senior to treat them in such a manner? You must know that they are all subordinates of my Hongtian Empire. I'm afraid that your actions are somewhat, I'm not from your Hongtian Empire. However, I can explain this person to you. Oh, no, it's not an explanation. Let me show you the whole story. After saying that, Lin Rei circulated his cultivation and an adversity crystal instantly appeared in front of Li Jiping. The scene within the crystal was the scene of Fan Jun in front of the gate of accomplishment. Today, all of you only have one mission. In the capital, find one person, no, two people for me. One male and one female. The female is Little Blossom from the capital. The male is the young man that the princess saved previously. The person who spoke was Fan Jun. After returning to the capital, he felt that he couldn't take it lying down. In the end, he gathered his subordinates and caused this scene. He turned his head and gestured to the person beside him. Then, he took out several portraits of Lin Rei and said, "These are the portraits of the young man. Find him, tie him up and send him to the capital." Do all of you understand? When everyone heard Fan Jun's words, they straightened their backs and replied loudly, "Understood." Then, each of you can take one portrait. After saying that, he turned around and walked towards Aunt Meng, who was not far away. He said, "Just you wait. I want to see what kind of person that young man is. How can he be so ungrateful?" And Little Blossom. She didn't even care about the many years of kindness that the royal residence has shown her. She would rather leave with a stranger who has been unconscious for 2 years. Humph, don't let me see her. If I see her, I will let her know that there is a price to pay for betraying the royal residence. This price will be unforgettable for her. Looking at Fan Jun, a trace of worry flashed across Aunt Meng's eyes. "Fan Jun, do you think this is a good idea?" "Why?" Fan Jun turned around. "Even His Highness hasn't said anything. If we do this privately, wouldn't it be too reckless? Moreover." As she said that, she reached out and pointed at the dozens of people. She continued, "These are all from the military. If someone with ulterior motives finds out that our royal residence has mobilized the military without permission and reports this to His Majesty, our royal residence will be in danger." Fan Jun was silent. Indeed, the royal residence was at the center of the storm. If something happened, it would arouse His Majesty's sympathy. After all, the royal residence's achievements were so high that it shocked His Majesty. If they mobilized the military without permission, it would arouse His Majesty's suspicions. However, when he thought about the confidentiality of this matter, he immediately felt relieved. From the beginning to the end, he had been trying his luck in handling this matter. He waved his hand and said confidently, "It's fine. Don't worry. As long as we find that brat, these people will immediately return to the military without delay. Don't worry." After saying that, he gave her a reassuring smile. Aunt Meng understood that it was too late for her to say anything. The dozens of soldiers had already left. Sigh, "I hope so." Kacha. Kacha. The scene stopped and the adversity crystal began to shatter. In a few breaths, the adversity crystal disappeared and was replaced by Li Jiping's gloomy expression. The scene just now had pictures and sounds. It was as if they were all at the scene. I didn't expect that this Fan Jun would be so daring. Previously, this prince clearly told him not to look for him. He actually, as he thought about it, he quickly bowed and said, "Senior, this matter is Fan Jun's fault. However, you have already killed so many people. Do you think you want this sovereign to let him go?" Lin Rei asked. "This? Yes. Yes. Senior, why don't you let it go? My royal residence is willing to use money to make up for his mistake. What does Senior think?" Li Jiping was probing. He wanted to understand Lin Rei's emotions. Only then would he be able to get Fan Jun out of there. After what just happened, he understood that he was no match for Lin Rei. It could even be said that no one in the entire royal capital could be his opponent. The space was silent. Lin Rei didn't speak. It was as if he was deep in thought. However, in the sky, Lin Rei's gaze landed on Ouyang Ting. Suddenly, an interesting matter appeared in his mind. He lowered his head and looked at Li Jiping and the others. He said, how about this? This sovereign has a little girl here. As long as I can defeat him, this sovereign will let her go unconditionally. How about it? Really? Truly. My words are as good as gold. Even a team of 4 horses cannot go back on them. Linley confirmed. If that's the case, then, all right, don't dilly-dally. If that's the case, then let's begin. As he spoke, he communicated with Ouyang Ting. Little Ting, take 3 steps to the left and 4 steps forward. If you defeat him, this sovereign will teach you an even more powerful sword technique. If I lose. If you lose, you will cultivate in the 10,000-year-old ice for 100 years. This is your punishment. Remember, if you don't want to be alone for 100 years, then do your best. Chapter 1268. Li Jiping didn't know that Lin Rui had already summoned Ouyang Ting. However, at this moment, Ouyang Ting was covered in killing intent. Her body was covered in blood, and her face was more or less stained with blood. Her appearance was very eye-catching. Understood, young master. Inside the formation, after hearing Lin Rui's punishment, Ouyang Ting bowed deeply and answered. She would cultivate in the 10,000-year ice for 100 years. Not to mention whether she could cultivate in the 10,000-year ice without being soaked by the ice, just being unable to come out of seclusion for 100 years was already miserable enough. Thinking about the days when she lost, Ouyang Ting's nerves trembled. She quickly shook her head and refused. This time, I must defeat the person that young master mentioned. I don't want to be sealed in the 10,000-year ice for 100 years. She was very clear about Lin Rui's right to speak. As long as Lin Rui spoke, Ouyang Jun basically wouldn't refuse. She would even carry out his orders personally. Following Lin Rui's instructions, Ouyang Ting's figure appeared at the designated place. Little Blossom. Li Jiping, Li Yunju, and the others who had been waiting to witness everything were all stunned when they saw the figure that appeared from the rolling fog. Especially Li Yunju, Xiao Lu, Li Jiping, and the others who were familiar with Little Blossom. When they saw the tyrannical aura surrounding the girl that they had used for a long time, their hearts trembled. They didn't dare to approach her. What's going on? Why did Little Blossom become like this? She used to be very gentle and kind. Why did the gentle aura around her become like this? That's right. Why did Little Blossom become like this? She's become like a demon. She's holding a sword in one hand and looking down on all living things. It's really a little hard to get close to her. How did this happen? What did you do to Little Blossom? Xiao Lu couldn't help but shout. Ouyang Ting knew Little Blossom very well. Normally, she wouldn't even dare to kill a chicken. But now, she was covered in blood. She walked out of the fog with a sword in her hand. Ouyang Ting didn't look like her good friend at all. Lin Rui was stunned by Xiaolu's roar. Then, he grinned and coldly snorted, "Little girl, it's not your fault that you're short-sighted. It's also not your fault that you know too much about your friends and yourself. Back then, I gave you a chance, but you didn't grasp it. If you say another word here, you'll die." As soon as he said this, the space around young deer froze and the temperature suddenly dropped. His face turned pale and his body trembled as he took a step back. As for his mouth, it was tightly shut and he did not speak. However, his gaze was fixed on his good friend in front of him. At the side, Li Jiping, who had been listening to all of this, fixed his gaze on Ouyang Ting, a look of envy in his eyes. He could feel the changes in Ouyang Ting's body. Of course, other than the spiritual energy flowing in Ouyang Ting's body. He turned his head and said to Li Yunju and the others, "This girl is no longer the same as before. From now on, she's no longer my servant. Do you all hear me? Understood." Nobody dared to say anything after hearing Li Jiping's words. In the end, they could only nod their heads in agreement. Although they didn't have any complaints, they could only do it in the end. Lin Rei couldn't help but nod his head at Li Jiping's actions. You're very smart. You didn't give me a chance to kill. Say. Senior, you must be joking. With senior's skills, you won't lower yourself to the same level as an ordinary person like me. From Lin Rei's words, he could feel a shocking killing intent. He nodded his head continuously. At the side, when she saw her father nodding his head and fawning over her, she felt a sense of unfamiliarity. Was this still her father? Was this still the same hero who didn't have any stage fright in front of millions of soldiers? Was this still the god of war and god of slaughter who pressed forward courageously? She didn't understand. She really didn't understand. She only knew that if she didn't have to help, this wouldn't have happened. In mid-air, Lin Li stared at Li Jiping and the others. He didn't say anything. Looking down at Ouyang Ting, he said, "Make your move. Let me see what you're capable of. Give me a reason to stop you from going into closed-door training." Hearing this, Ouyang Ting's body trembled. She bowed and said, "Yes, young master. This subordinate will do it now." After saying that, she raised her head and looked at the man who was covered in blood. A faint trace of panic flashed across her face. If it really counted, this was her real face-to-face battle. Everything before was built on the basis of hatred. But now, they were face-to-face. Moreover, the other party didn't look like her stepmother. Come. I can't disobey young master's orders. So, I can only do my best. I hope you won't blame me. Heh, blame me? Hearing Ouyang Ting's words, Fan Jun felt a burst of laughter. He snorted and said, "Little girl, you really know how to joke. If it weren't for your master, would I be here today? Blame? Do you think I dare to blame you?" Ouyang Ting was silent. Indeed, if it weren't for her young master, this scene wouldn't have happened. Of course, she understood that if it weren't for his reasons, this scene wouldn't have happened. She didn't continue to respond. Raising her hand, she held her sword in the air. With a serious expression, her eyes locked onto Fan Jun. Ouyang Ting was serious, unprecedentedly serious. Her chi refinement realm cultivation quickly circulated within her body. Recalling the feeling of using the sword and her previous experience, an unprecedented confidence surged into her heart. "I'm going to make my move. You better be careful." Ice Frost Sword Technique, First Style, Frost Sword descends. Suddenly, the long sword was waved, and a cold aura was emitted from the long sword, spreading around his body. This, Fan Jun, who was fighting on the scene, sensed that Ouyang Ting's sword art was no ordinary sword art when she displayed it. He swore that this was the first time in his life that he had seen such a scene, especially when the sword moved and the cold air surged around her. Watching the sword move, as time passed, its speed became faster and faster. Faintly, Fan Jun saw frost appear around Ouyang Ting's body. Whoosh! She moved. Waving the sword in her hand, she stomped her feet. Suddenly, her whole body burst out, rushing towards Fan Jun fast. The sword was ever-changing. It was as if there were thousands of swords everywhere. Holding the battle blade, he didn't have the strength to fight back. He really didn't know how to fight back. Ouyang Ting's speed was too fast. Of course, as a former warrior, he could see that Ouyang Ting wasn't very familiar with this sword technique. Faintly, during the fast swings, she would occasionally pause for a moment or two. Although I don't know if I can win, I still have to give it my all. Otherwise, my reputation will be ruined. As he spoke, he swung his sword and used the crazy demon blade technique. Looking at Ouyang Ting who was rushing towards him, Fan Jun's body burst out, rushing towards her. Chapter 1269. Clang. Sword and saber collided. Sparks flew as the two of them clashed, neither of them able to do anything to the other. Fan Jun was startled by that power. Although he had expected that he wouldn't be a match for her, he still found it difficult to bear. Thinking back to his life, he had crawled through mountains of corpses and seas of blood. How could this little girl possess such power at such a young age? As expected, that youth is that kind of person. I never thought that in just a few days, this little girl would possess such power. As Fan Jun's superior, he was well aware of Fan Jun's strength. Fan Jun was one of the top existences in the military. Even if he encountered him, he probably wouldn't be able to fight him to a standstill. In just one move, he had never thought that his little maid would have such power. Li Jiping was shocked, but Li Yunzhu and Xiaolu were even more shocked. The three of them had often whispered to each other, but now? How long had it been since their opponent's strength had reached such a level? "Heh, I never thought that you would be so strong," said Ouyang Ting as she raised her head to look at Fan Jun. However, in her heart, she was very happy because this was only 60% of her strength. Ouyang Zhen had seen it before. When fighting someone, you couldn't use your full strength from the start. You had to use a portion of your cultivation to probe your opponent. Although he didn't know whether or not Fan Jun had used his full strength, he could sense that facing Fan Jun wasn't strenuous at all. Fortunately, Fan Jun didn't know what Ouyang Ting was thinking. If he did, he would definitely want to cry. As a soldier, he didn't know what probing was. In his mind, there was only pressing forward, not turning back. "Little girl, if you have this kind of strength, it would be great to serve the country. Becoming a marquis is just around the corner. Why do you want to serve others?" said Fan Jun. Indeed, if she hadn't met Linley before, if she hadn't experienced Linley's strength, if she had had the opportunity she had now, after hearing these words, she might have really joined the army. But now, it was different. Immortality, longevity, and ability were all better than serving the country. Moreover, serving the country did not necessarily require a little girl. Looking at Fan Jun, a cold smile flashed across his face. He shook his head and said, "Don't waste your energy. I will never betray the young master. Young master, you have given me power that ordinary people can't reach. You have given me the ability to reach the heavens. Even if you were to use the throne of the current emperor, I wouldn't care about it. So, give up. You are no match for me. As long as you give up, I can spare your life. How about it?" "Oh. Are you so sure that you can kill me?" Fan Jun raised his eyebrows in displeasure. Alas. Fan Jun's stubbornness made Ouyang Ting feel very charming. Recalling what her master had said about the young master's temper, she decided not to waste any more time. Clang! The long sword slashed across, and Zhang Xian retreated. The killing intent around him condensed. "Since you're so stubborn, don't blame me for what happens next." After figuring out Fan Jun's strength, she was no longer worried. Since he didn't want to admit defeat, she could only kill him with one strike. "Humph, do you really think that I am a pushover after all these years on the battlefield?" Fan Jun snorted coldly. He placed his long sword in front of his chest, stomped his feet, and charged towards Ouyang Ting again. It's about to end. In the outside world, Li Jiping saw Fan Jun's action and said. He was very familiar with the demonic frenzy blade art. This was the last move of the demonic frenzy blade art. As long as it was used, blood would definitely be spilled. Then, father, will Xiaohua be in danger? Li Yunzhu was worried. Hearing his daughter's worry, Li Jiping turned to look at her with a regretful expression. I don't know. However, I hope that Xiaohua and Fan Jun will be fine. Looking at the current situation, he wasn't sure who would win. However, he vaguely felt that Fan Jun was in danger. After all, Ouyang Ting's master was that kind of person. He was unpredictable. Who knew if Ouyang Ting had other trump cards? Since you want to die, don't blame me. Seeing Fan Jun charging towards her, Ouyang Ting's killing intent rose. Ice Frost Sword Art, the second move. She wasn't familiar with this move. However, even if she wasn't familiar with it, it was extraordinary when she used it. Not good. Ice frost was used. Suddenly, the remaining spiritual energy in her body quickly flowed into the long sword. In the air, Lin Rei saw this scene and shook his head. Looks like it's still a little difficult. Although he hadn't practiced the ice frost sword art, he could tell that this sword art wasn't of a high grade. However, it wasn't something that Ouyang Ting could practice at her current level. For this incident, I can only teach her a few battle techniques and moves that are compatible with her current cultivation. Although he thought about it, his eyes never left Ouyang Ting. He didn't want this new subordinate of his to die for no reason. Of course, he believed that this level of battle wouldn't be a problem for her. Especially after using Ice Frost, it was even more so. Ice Frost quickly circulated. The more spiritual energy it absorbed, the less spiritual energy Ouyang Ting had. Time passed. After 10 breaths, the Ice Frost sword art was completed. In her body, the remaining spiritual energy was barely enough. Die. Fan Jun's voice rang in her ears. She looked up and saw that Fan Jun's figure had already arrived. Oh, you came just in time. This distance gave Ouyang Ting a chance to use Ice Frost. If she only had a 50% chance before, now she had a 99% chance to kill him. What? Ouyang Ting's lineup made Fan Jun a little apprehensive. At this moment, a cold aura emerged from the longsword. Not good. He, who had been lingering on the edge of life and death for a long time, could feel danger approaching. Now, after feeling the cold aura, he understood that this sword was very dangerous. Without hesitation, he planned to retreat. As for attacking, he gave up. In front of his life, what bravery! What bravery! It was nonsense. If he lost his life, what was the use of these things? Don't you think it's too late? Seeing that Fan Jun was about to retreat, Ouyang Ting sneered. She waved her long sword and used Ice Frost. She raised her long sword and rushed towards Fan Jun. I don't dare. Fan Jun is in trouble. Outside, Li Jiping, who had been observing, was shocked. His face changed and he shouted at the array, "Little flower, that person is Fan Jun. It's Fan Jun from the Wang mansion. Have mercy." However, before Li Jiping could say anything, Fan Jun saw the longsword and subconsciously raised his longsword to fight against Ouyang Ting. What? Just as the longsword was about to cut Fan Jun into pieces, Li Jiping's voice sounded in Ouyang Ting's ears. Suddenly, the longsword stopped in the air. Ouyang Ting was stunned, but Fan Jun did not. The longsword was still moving. The longsword appeared. At this moment, Ouyang Ting suddenly came back to her senses. Looking at the longsword that was at her shoulder, her heart jumped. She used the last bit of spiritual chi in her body to move her body and dodge to the side. Poochie. A trace of blood flashed. Chapter 1270. Ah, whoosh, a scream was heard as a figure was pushed back. In the air, the face of the person who was pushed back instantly turned pale. His right hand was clutching his throat as fresh blood gushed out from his throat. It was a murderous scene. In the air, Lin Rei was enraged when he saw this. He released his murderous aura and enveloped everyone present. Bastard, you hurt my people. As soon as he finished speaking, he appeared beside Fan Jun. His hand was as fast as lightning as he grabbed Fan Jun's throat and lifted him up. On the other side, Ouyang Ting was lying on the ground. Her hands were clutching her throat. She was in great pain. If it wasn't for him, no one in the entire empty underworld region would have the ability to heal her throat. In the distance, Li Jiping was dumbfounded. This was not what he wanted to see. When he saw that Fan Jun's life was in danger, he shouted in a hurry. He didn't expect that Fan Jun would take advantage of Ouyang Ting's dazed state to attack her. Xiao Hua. Li Yunju saw this and screamed. She ran up to Ouyang Ting with a worried expression. She squatted down and reached out her hand to check Ouyang Ting's wound. If your hands touch her, your father, your family, and even the people related to your family, I will exterminate them. I will detain them and make them suffer the pain of having their hearts devoured by 10,000 ghosts in the 9 netherworlds. Li Yunju, who was about to reach out her hand, heard Lin Rei's words. She couldn't help but stop her hand in midair. She turned to look at Lin Rei with an ugly expression. She didn't believe it. However, when she felt Lin Rei's murderous aura, she couldn't help but see a strange scene in her mind. In the scene, her family, friends, and father were all trapped in a black sea. Thousands of ghosts were tearing at them, but they couldn't die. Although it was just a momentary lapse of concentration, she couldn't make any movements. She was afraid that the scene that flashed past her would come true. Well, you're a good girl. Seeing Li Yunju's hand stop, Lin Rei nodded. He waved his hand and spiritual energy rushed out. Ouyang Ting, who was lying on the ground and groaning in pain, floated in the air and landed in front of Lin Rei. How is this possible? Is this some kind of trick? The scene of Lin Rei retrieving the item from afar stunned everyone. They were all stunned on the spot. Li Jiping was still fine. After all, he had just figured out the other party's identity. Li Jiping and the rest did not dare to breathe loudly. However, Fan Jun, who was being choked by Lin Rei, broke the silence. Because he was being choked by Lin Rei, his face was flushed red. He deliberately struggled, and his body began to slowly lose strength. Clang! The long saber slipped out of his hand and fell to the ground. His limbs lost their strength and drooped vertically as if they had no bones. Are you feeling uncomfortable? Looking at Fan Jun, Lin Rei felt even more annoyed. Of course, he felt even more annoyed by Ouyang Ting, this good-for-nothing. It was just a moment ago that Zhang Xian had lectured her, but who could have thought that in just a short moment, she would have completely tossed his words to the back of her mind. A cultivator was actually defeated by a martial artist who did not know how to cultivate. Furthermore, his throat was cut in such a miserable manner. Sigh. Zhang Xian sighed and lowered his head to look at Ouyang Ting, who was lying on the ground with a painful expression. He snorted coldly, I've taught you before. Being merciful to the enemy is being cruel to yourself. On the battlefield, it's either you die or I live. Do you think your life is tough? Or do you think that with this sovereign beside you, nothing will happen to you? Idiot. Zhang Xian said mercilessly to Ouyang Ting, who was bleeding non-stop and whose face was pale. You should hurry up and treat her. If you delay any longer, Little Blossom will die soon. Hurry up. That's right. Hurry up and treat Little Blossom. If you can't do it, then call the doctors from the capital. Don't delay any longer. Li Yunju and Xiaolu could not stand it anymore. They spoke up for Ouyang Ting. However, they seemed to have forgotten who caused Ouyang Ting to be in this state. If Li Jiping did not suddenly speak up, Ouyang Ting would not be in this state right now. If it was not for the tie between them, he would not be injured by a martial artist. Looking at the two of them, Lin Rei glanced at them. The coldness in his eyes made the two of them tremble. Ever since he was young, he had been under the protection of his father, the emperor equal to the emperor. When had he ever been looked at with such coldness? There were not many people who even raised their voices at him. You really have the cheek to say that. Ouyang Ting shouldn't have ended up like this. If it wasn't for her soft-heartedness, she probably wouldn't have ended up in such a state. Now, she's trying to turn the tables on us. Lin Rei looked at the two of them in a polite manner. One had to know that he did not even care about the cultivators who were stronger than him in the holy world, let alone these ordinary people. Ouyang Ting, does it hurt? Everyone rolled their eyes at Lin Rei's question. Clearly, they despised him for asking such a stupid question. However, Lin Rei did not notice their gazes. Or it could be said that he did not care about them at all. His gaze was still fixed on Ouyang Ting. He wanted to hear her answer. Lying on the ground, Ouyang Ting looked at Lin Rei. Her eyes were filled with regret. With a hoarse voice, she replied, "Why, young master, this subordinate knows his mistake. This subordinate should not have disobeyed young master's teachings. I should not have been soft-hearted towards the enemy." Sigh. Hearing Ouyang Ting's words, Lin Rei nodded helplessly. After this incident, he believed that Ouyang Ting would be reborn. No matter who it was, after experiencing death, their personality would change. Whether they were kind-hearted, benevolent, or compassionate, after experiencing death, they would all change. Remember what you said. Next time, this sovereign does not want to see the same scene. Otherwise, there is no need for you to exist. Do you understand? I understand. This subordinate understands. Ouyang Ting used the last of her strength to nod. You little brat, you really make this sovereign worry. After saying that, his gaze landed on the tree that was full of vitality. The corner of his mouth curled up, revealing a smile. He raised his hand and aimed it at the tree. A soul-stirring energy surged out. In the next instant, a miracle occurred. The tree that Linley was aiming at, which had been full of life and vitality, instantly began to wither and turn yellow. The tree began to wither, and in the end, it transformed into dust. The instant the tree turned into dust, a meatball-like green light appeared before everyone's eyes. Under everyone's gaze, the green light came to Lin Rei's hand and was controlled by Lin Rei. It might hurt a little later. Endure it. After saying that, without waiting for Ouyang Ting to speak again, the green light in his hand aimed at Ouyang Ting's wound. With a light shake of his hand, the green light left his hand and entered Ouyang Ting's throat. Why, young master, don't speak. Your wound will heal soon. After saying that, his gaze landed on Fan Jun again. Lin Rei had already sentenced Fan Jun to death in his heart. Not to mention Li Jiping, who was his mission target. Even those old fellows in the holy world who had hidden themselves from the world could forget about protecting him. Because he deserved to die. You made a mistake this time. When your wound heals, I will impart a sword technique to you. Remember, watch carefully later. This sword technique is extremely powerful. Even if your cultivation reaches my level in the future, this sword technique will be very handy. Ouyang Ting followed Lin Rei's instructions. She didn't speak and just nodded to express her agreement. All right, take a rest. After saying that, the green light in his hand entered Ouyang Ting's throat. Lin Rei didn't pay any more attention to it. For such a small wound, it wasn't a problem at all. Die? That's impossible. Even a nascent soul realm cultivator could heal Ouyang Ting. All right, now that this matter is settled, it's time to talk about your matter. After saying that, he turned to Li Jiping and the others. Lin Rei wouldn't kill them. After all, Li Jiping was his mission target. He still needed to rely on Li Jiping to make a fortune and return to the holy world. Wouldn't it be a pity to kill him now? If he really wanted to do it, he would have to wait until he received the mission reward and left the empty underworld region. Senior, I was in a hurry just now and didn't mean to do it. Please forgive me. Seeing Linley's gaze fall upon them, Li Jiping's soul trembled and he hurriedly begged for mercy. Of course, if Senior feels that this is not enough to vent your anger, or if you want to find someone to pay the price for this, then, after saying that, he took a step forward and said firmly, if Senior thinks that it's possible, you can take my life away anytime. Father, Your Highness, Li Jiping's words frightened Li Yunju and the rest. The life of the emperor equal to the emperor is extremely precious. When the neighboring countries heard Li Jiping's name, they didn't dare to make a move. Hence, Li Jiping's existence is indispensable to Hongtian Empire. Senior, use my life to exchange for His Highness. That's right. Mine is fine too, as long as you let His Highness go. His Highness was just joking. If he wants to live a long life, all of us are willing to sacrifice our lives for him. One by one, they stood out and drew their swords, placing them at their throats. They looked as though they were willing to sacrifice their lives for the sake of His Highness. Seeing the way everyone was behaving, Linley was stunned. The actions of these people truly shocked Linley. Do you all think that your lives are worth a lot? Looking at the crowd, Lin Ray said coldly. Senior, junior. Looking at Lin Ray, Li Jiping wanted to refute. However, just as he spoke, Lin Ray cut him off. Shut your mouth. I have the final say in this matter. After saying that, he waved his hand at the crowd. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew. Instantly, the people who were willing to sacrifice their lives for His Highness all fell to the ground. Humph, a bunch of ants. In my eyes, your lives are not even worth an ant. If I want to, not just you all, even the entire Hongtian Empire can be reduced to ashes in an instant. These words might sound like a joke to the crowd, but Ouyang Ting knew that what he said was true. At the same time, on the other side, Ouyang Zhen, who was sent out by Lin Ray, was shuttling back and forth in Hongtian King's manor. Basically, Ouyang Zhen had visited all the residences of the 3 ducal ministers and 9 ministers. He wouldn't have known if he didn't visit them, but once he did, he was shocked. It turned out that in Hongtian Empire, other than a few generals, there were only 2 or 3 officials who wholeheartedly supported Li Jiping. Regarding this, Ouyang Zhen was suspicious of the way Li Jiping interacted with him. According to Lin Ray's instructions, Ouyang Zhen didn't kill all the people who opposed Li Jiping. He killed 6 assistant ministers of the Ministry of Revenue and a doctor. Then, he captured a few officials of the 3 ducal ministers and 9 ministers and rushed towards where Lin Ray was. It has to be said that just today alone, the entire Hongtian Empire had the intention of suffering a serious injury. As for the generals, if Ouyang Zhen didn't pay attention to them, there were already so many civil officials. As for the generals, most of them were out of town and inconvenient. In front of the restaurant, it was silent. Everyone was looking at Lin Ray. No one dared to breathe too loudly, as if they were afraid that if they breathed too loudly, it would affect Lin Ray's thoughts. On the other hand, Lin Ray sat at the side, minding his own business. Fan Jun was imprisoned by Lin Ray at a distance. System, you said that I accepted to help Li Jiping unify the empire. Is there any other meaning to this mission? Regarding this matter, he had always maintained a skeptical attitude. After all, the usual missions were so difficult, and this mission always made Linley feel a little uneasy. He kept feeling that this was another trap that the system had dug for him. System, regarding Lin Ray, the system was already helpless. In the system's heart, it had already judged Lin Ray. Persecutory paranoia. Host, the system doesn't want to clarify this matter too many times. This is the last time. Remember this. The system spoke. However, from its tone, it seemed to be angry. Lin Ray didn't care about this. He only wanted to know if there was any other meaning behind this mission. Host, this system guarantees with my integrity that this mission is definitely not fishy. It is completely literal. Guarantee with your integrity? A strange gaze appeared. This time, Lin Ray was even more suspicious. What integrity? Do you even have any integrity? Of course, Lin Ray didn't say this out loud. He didn't want to be punished by the system again. Furthermore, his cultivation was lowered. If he accepted the punishment now, it would be suicide. Alright, anyway, don't think too much about this matter. Just focus on completing the mission. Alright. Lin Ray replied casually. Then, he regained his senses and looked into the distance. He saw Ouyang Zhen walking over with 3 people. You're back. Looking at Ouyang Zhen, Lin Ray smiled and said. Yes, young master. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. These are those people. As he spoke, he waved his hand. The 3 ministers, who were wrapped in holy spiritual qi, flashed in front of Lin Ray and fell to the ground. You. What's wrong with you? Looking at the 3 people, Li Jiping was dumbfounded. He obviously knew these 3 people and was very familiar with them. To be honest, if it weren't for the fact that he was the emperor equal to the emperor and had to prioritize the interests of the country, he would have killed them long ago. You. Emperor equal to the emperor? So it's you. You are so daring to do such a disgraceful thing. Are you planning to rebel? You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.